On November 12, 1977, then little-known self-described song and dance man, Andrew Jeffrey Kaufman, purchased a piece of technology that was somewhat advanced for its time, a micro-cassette recorder. The continual presence of this tiny recording device would consume his life from that moment on.
We're recording?
No, not yet. Was that our record?
Oh, yeah. So are we recording now? You go ahead.
Yeah, we're going to see if it works.
You know what? I'm recording you, too.
Oh,
Yes. You want to hear? Yes. Yeah. I mean, it's hard to explain. Like, for instance, the people buying a record called Andy and his grandmother. They think, Trump's made a record with his grandmother. This must be hilarious. And they show a picture of me and my grandmother on the cover, and like draw in little, people going laughing at the, and then they put it on, and it's like it's a regular conversation, everyday sound, and people are going to say, "What is this?" Well, I like to do that to people. I like it would be like a big practical joke, a little bitty technical.
How do you see through it?
That's
it. What?
No, it's not a picture.
Oh, it's not a picture.
No.
What is it?
Sound.
A what?
Sound.
A camera?
No. Sound.
Sound.
Sound. Here.
Oh, I see.
You want me to show you? It's a nice little thing, huh?
Yeah. What is it? It's a tape recorder. And that's all the other conversation there is. Andy, do you want something? I asked him, he said no. Andy, you sure you don't want something, honey? I'll fix something for you. Were you taping what we were saying?
Yeah.
Yes, didn't you understand it? I thought.
Say something now.
I love you.
I love you too.
David, are you here?
Yeah, I'm here.
It worked. This is so cool to know that this actually worked this time. Wow, man. I realized it was here the whole time. There's I can't believe I didn't see this before. Right at the top here, there's a little picture of a person with a plus sign next to it, and it says invite people, and that's what I did to get you in here. I think what I was doing before to invite people into the thing, I think what I was doing was I know what it was. I was inviting them to. I kept inviting them from the event page. I think that's what it was.
Yeah, that's what I think it is as well.
Yeah, and now I'm understanding, and it's great because I'm getting the hang of this thing now, which is such a great feeling because now it just means that we can do more of these things, and I'll be, maybe messing up a little bit less each time.
True.
What time is
they make it so complicated?
What? Say what?
Now it's 10 past 8 p.m.
It's 8 p.m. over there. Wow.
Yeah.
How did you end up celebrating?
I'm only going to be on for half an hour more or less, so.
What are you going to do?
I'm only going to be on for like half an hour because I've got to have my dinner and stuff, and I've got to get ready for tomorrow, so.
Oh, you have a big day tomorrow?
Yeah.
So, oh, look at this. We got PQ River here. Good luck. Looking forward to this one. It'd be interesting to hear your thoughts and others on Kaufman Returns. Oh, that's good. PQ River is here now. Oh, John Lundberg. Okay, we got PQ River. All right, guess what? Let's see. We're going to get PQ into here. Let's see. This is great. I think I'm understanding. This is great. Man, this feels so good to be able to get this stuff.
It should be a little easier now.
Okay, here we go. Here we go. All right, so PQ, I just shut off a message to you.
Yeah, it just shows up that you've invited people.
This is great. Let's see what happens here. We got 3 viewers already. Fantastic. John Lundberg, this is really cool. Hey, thanks again for tuning in, you guys. This was kind of like a last-minute thing. I was I don't want to say I was talked into doing this, but they kind of inspired me to do this. Jack wanted to jump back in and give me another opportunity to try to get people into the conversations, and I think I'm figuring it out. I just hit that little invite people button up there. So let's see. It's okay. So John Lundberg says, "Hey Kurt, good luck. Looking forward to this one. Be interesting to hear your thoughts and others on Kaufman Returns." Well, that's a new account. Some folks have not been following all the crazy little things that have been going on.
Jack,
Jack Bristow's here. Look at that.
Hey, Jack.
Look at him.
Can you hear me?
Yes. Do you have a new microphone?
Yeah.
Wow, yeah, well, I got this other computer working, so I sort of have a new microphone.
Jack, this is great
It seems to be working better than last time.
I know.
Yeah.
I'm glad it's finally working, all three of us. It went through great this time. No hassle or anything.
No.
Well,
The exciting thing is, I figured out the where's that Q&A thing? Oh, here we go. So Jack, I don't know if you heard this or not, but John Lundberg, he said he's interested to hear our thoughts about Kaufman Returns, that new account. What are your thoughts about that out there? To the at-home viewers who have not been following all these different accounts, all these different Twitter accounts that you can follow, and once you just start following at Stephen Maddox, at the Andy Kaufman, gosh, there are a bunch of them, but once you start following those, you start seeing all these other Kaufman things popping up, and one of them is Kaufman Returns. Jack, would you like to tell the at-home viewers what that actually, what messages have been popping up there?
Yeah, I just saw that recently with Zamuda. He supposedly runs it, and I think he does because there's a real website on that, which is very interesting because if he runs that website, he's saying that he helped Andy fake his death. You know what I mean?
You're saying that there's I need to find this link. You're saying that there's actually oh, we got 4 viewers. If you guys want to be invited, jump into the side there and ask me to invite you, and I'll invite you guys.
Yeah,
because I think I'm figuring it out at this point.
Tal did put the link on there the other day on Facebook, which I thought was very, very cool.
Wait, who put the link up?
Tal yesterday on her page.
Tal Palmer, yeah.
Oh, that's cool. Oh, that's good.
I might be able to get my other computer in here and find it for you.
Are you? So hold on. You're saying there's an actual website that's connected with the Kaufman Returns?
But it's like a website that I'm not good with computers and stuff, but it's like a website that hasn't been finished or something. There's just a page that directs you to the tweets on the website. Maybe the Kaufman Returns thing's going to get bigger, in coming months to the build up to the book.
Wow. That makes sense. That makes sense. All this stuff to so it's good that we're doing this. Actually, we're with Zamuda ought to be very, very happy about the fact he's getting all this free promotion, right?
I thought we should maybe ask him if we could interview him.
That would be brilliant. That'd be phenomenal.
Because we'll advertise the hell out of it on Twitter and stuff. That's good publicity for his book, and all of us would be happy.
Well, there's a guy I was talking with on Twitter who lives out near me out here in a town called Burbank, and he says that he always sees Zamuda at the Starbucks that's out there. Wait, PQ says he's not getting... Oh! John Lundberg just put that up, KaufmanReturns.com. Very good, very good. Awesome. Thank you, John Lundberg. All right, so PQ says he's watching, and good to see everyone. Well, it's good to see you too, PQ. And I'm really trying to... Let's see. He's looking for his email. He can't seem to find it. PQ, I'm going to send you another one right here. PQ River. Oh, look in your other folder. Jack, you said that you found a whole bunch of invites in your other folder or something, right?
Yeah, it was called your social folder, and I barely even noticed it. I thought it would have been in the inbox, where the other messages and whatnot were.
So, it was just an alternate. Spot within your actual email area, huh?
Yeah, but today I got it right in the notifications. This time I didn't even have to look in the social thing today, which was odd.
No, I got it the same way as Jack did.
Wait, how'd you get it, Dave?
Same way Jack did. I just saw the notification. I just said join the video chat, and that was it.
Wow. I'm gonna check out. Okay, so for some folks it's easy, and for some folks it's a little tricky trying to get in there. I'm gonna look at.
I think it's a lot easier. I think for people who only have a Gmail account for some reason.
Oh. Well, you know that's the thing. I think each of these.
I don't know.
I think each of these people might be inviting. Oh yeah, go on, Jack. What, Jack?
No, I was just agreeing with him that it might have something to do with the Gmail. Because I just recently created one, and well, not recently, a few days ago, but it seemed a little easier to get in.
I'm going to look up this Kaufman Returns. I have not yet seen the magic.
It's quite intriguing, but I think
I think it's really him because
that
that website kind of adds validity to all of it.
Yeah. I mean, it totally has the face up there and everything, and wow, very interesting here. Interesting. Yeah, and then it's got the tweets up on it. Right, blank page. I'm trying to highlight it just to see if we can find any hidden text on here or anything. So that's interesting that Bob Zamuda put that up there, if that is in fact Bob Zamuda, but then again, I mean, it links right in with this, so it seems like it would have been Bob Zamuda who put that up there. But that's pretty bold to just come right out and say, oh yeah, I helped him do this. This is something that...
That is weird. And what surprises me is the legal ramifications of all of it, you know? Does he know they won't get in trouble now? Is there a statute of limitations? You know?
Well, Lucy Armstrong here. Hey, Lucy. I don't know. I've never met Lucy Armstrong before. She says Kaufman Returns appears to be legitimate. The official Tony Clifton profile linked to it seems like it is set up for promo for the book. So that's pretty interesting. I mean, that's really bold to just to go ahead and say that.
Very much so. I found that interesting. He did it on the 16th, too, you notice. He doesn't want people to lose interest.
That's awesome. He did it on the 16th. That's awesome.
You know, people on Facebook and stuff call him names, but I think he's a pretty cool guy. You know?
Zamuda?
Yeah, he's keeping the legacy going and stuff. And, you know,
absolutely. And you're saying that you've heard people say that they don't like him?
Yeah, a lot of people don't, but I think he's cool.
You know,
but they like him for the wrong reasons, in a way, Phil.
Oh, they're mad at him
for the wrong reasons? Dave, say that again. What were you saying?
I just think they don't like him for the wrong reasons. You know?
What reasons do you think that they might not like him, Dave?
I don't know. I just think that, you know, maybe because he's covering a lot of things up and he's not very honest, and maybe he brought out the bad side in Andy when he shouldn't have. And well, bad side, you know what I mean. I mean, if he really is out there, and Bob and Lynn maybe have been avoiding the whole thing, and maybe he is out there, people would be still very pissed off, but I still wouldn't know how to react.
Well, I remember seeing this for the Zamuda book, Kaufman Returns, or no, what was it called? Andy Kaufman Revealed. There's a review that I saw on this. There's an Andy Kaufman website. I think it's called like jvl.net or something like that. Do you guys know which one I'm talking about?
Yeah, I know.
I think I heard of it as well.
Well, it's got great information up there, and you know, they talk nothing about the fact that he would have faked his death or anything. I mean, the only thing that they give sort of a nod to is they say, contrary to what you've heard, he did in fact die. But in addition to that, on the website there's a little bit of a review that someone wrote about Andy Kaufman Revealed. And so some of the complaints that I saw was that Zamuda talked too much about himself, not enough about Andy. But I think it's all part of it. How can you not talk about yourself if you were directly involved with the shenanigans that you were putting on with?
It's his book, it's his
right?
perspective.
I mean, Stanley didn't like Bob, didn't he?
Yeah, he didn't like him either, from what I heard.
That's how I heard as well. Very long time ago.
Yeah, I think he sued him once to take other stuff from out of that book revealed. So who knows what else would have been in that book.
I think it was something to do that Bob revealed way too much about Andy that Stanley didn't like.
Yeah, something. I can't even remember what it was.
I can't remember exactly why, but
Well, it is quite strange how over the years Bob Zmuda has said, no, he's dead, he's totally dead. And then, you know, now of course he's changing his opinion, which is very, very interesting.
I mean, what I just don't get is why make a book about it though?
Oh, like why give the reveal? Why like
Brandon
wait,
Bailing.
trick, so to speak?
I mean, I think a press conference or something, just go and let him in, and then just let it happen.
My
That would
thought
be
is
great.
maybe he's trying to smoke Andy out. Maybe Andy's not coming back, but they've been wanting him to come back all this
Or maybe
time.
they just reveal that he really is out there, but they just want to live in peace.
Maybe.
Oh, Lucy is telling us here that we're getting talkback. Someone's mic is not muting.
Talk
And
back?
I've heard that. Do you guys have, maybe I should put on headphones here. Do you guys have headphones by any chance?
I think I might
I
have some
do.
out here. Let me go check.
Somewhere. I can't use them.
Because if so, it might help us with this feedback that's popping through.
Yeah, I got these right here.
There we go. Lucy, is this a little bit better? Give us a little message in the corner there, Lucy, if it seems like. Let's see. Oh yeah, John was saying it too. Bad echo on audio. Kurt needs to mute people out, or you all need to wear headphones to stop the audio doubling. Okay, there we go. So hopefully this is better. Is this better, John and Lucy? Wow. I mean, really, that's just such a huge, bold statement to say, I actually helped him fake his death. I knew about it this whole time, and it's quite interesting. I don't know what the ramifications would be for something like that, for helping someone fake their death. I don't know.
But here's the kicker.
And
What
right
if he
after
actually showed up?
Stanley, sorry.
What if he actually showed up on Letterman's last show?
That would be phenomenal. He shows up on his last show. That would be awesome. You know, in the
It's just
here,
but you never know. But
I'm gonna play this for you guys. You guys probably heard this before. This is Andy talking with Zmuda about the possibility of him. Oh, PQ says it's cleaner now. PQ, did you get the invite, by the way? I'm sending it to you again. Here we go. Look in all of your different areas in your email box there, PQ. You might find it in an area that you would not expect. Oh, good, it's working. Thank you, Lucy. Oh yes, John Lundberg. It's working. Very good, very good. Last thing we need is for you guys to be. I understand just the Andy Kaufman vortex itself is quite crazy, but then you add on to that the whole echoing and. All right, so I'm gonna find this little piece. I'm gonna play this little piece that he and Bob Zmuda joked about.
Cool. One point I want to make before you play it is, isn't it interesting that Bob's coming out of the woodwork now? You're seeing, you know, online stuff. It's all after Stanley died. He's coming up with his own Twitter accounts and stuff. The guy's been a shut-in all that time when it comes to, you know.
But maybe
online.
that's the reason why Stanley hates him.
Well, it is interesting because it seemed like that was one of my questions. I think I asked Steven a while ago, or I mentioned to him the fact that it seemed like if you, for instance, here's this book. This book is really a really good piece of information. Was This Man a Genius? By Julie Hecht. was this man a genius? This book, what's so cool about this is that this woman hung out with him and Bob Zmuda, and it's amazing. You get to see all of their hijinks. It's just really cool to see it from this kind of perspective, you know, rather than, like, for instance, the Bill Ziem book. You know, he went out and he interviewed people. The Bob Zmuda book, for instance, it's from his perspective. But from this, it's from her perspective about those two guys, and she was actually there in the midst of it, watching it happen. And Kaufman actually had his tape recorder with him, and so they really worked well with each other, Zmuda and Kaufman. And it seemed like when Kaufman disappeared, all of a sudden Zmuda, his playmate, had now gone. His buddy that he could joke around with was now gone. You know, whether he had faked his death or whether he died, the point was he was gone now. So now it's like, who is Zmuda left to play with? Where is his friends? You know, kind of thing. And so it was interesting because he did kind of, you know, disappear, except for the Tony Clifton stuff, of course. But this whole time I've been wondering what's he been up to. I know he does the what is that? The comedy.
Comic relief.
Comic relief. Yeah, so he does the comic relief, but aside from that, I know he wrote the screenplay DC Cap.
He was on number 23 with Jim Carrey as well.
He was in that movie? I haven't
he had a cameo, a small role, yeah.
And that came out after Man on the Moon, huh?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's because Joel Schumacher, or I can't even say the name. I don't even remember the guy's name, but you know, he did Batman and Robin.
Yeah.
And I think he worked on DC Cab, and I think he worked on the number 23 too.
Yeah,
so they're probably friends.
One second, I just spilled something. One second, I just got to clean this up really fast. Hold on a second.
We interrupt this personal message.
Can you see the chat in here? Because I can't see it.
I can only see what I type, though.
I can't see anything that anybody typed. It's weird. Last time I could, but it's when I wasn't a participant, I was just messing around, you know, viewing it a few days ago.
I'm just trying to check and see if I can find it. No.
Maybe just like the host can see it or something.
Yeah, probably. Does he? Kurt can see what Jack, PQ and stuff have written. So.
What are Google effects? I didn't hear about those.
That's just popping up right now. I wonder if you know, that must be the thing where you get like mustaches and hats and stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, you can put those on your head? That's pretty cool.
Yeah. This is the one that, remember Frank Nora? He was wearing this one. And remember,
wow.
Max put that one up? He goes, this is why I have him as my PR guy, and he was wearing this thing.
Man,
these are...
Have you heard of Frank?
Say what? What?
Have you heard from him in the last few days?
I don't know what the heck that guy's up to. I'm like
you
this.
Just never know what Frank.
I think I saw on Facebook he went to Comic-Con or something. That's good.
Yeah. What? Your guess is good as mine. What?
I'm going to try it, but I hope it doesn't take me away.
Test it out.
I'm just trying to find one for me. There we go.
Alright, it's downloading the app, so I hope you guys can still see it.
Oh, cool. Cool.
Is it working for me? I can't see it.
Let's see. Which one did you choose? No, it's not popping up for you yet, Dave.
Hold on. Because I got a Halo, so I don't know.
You chose the Halo? Maybe it's just loading up for you.
Yeah.
I tried the horns, but I don't see them working.
It just takes a while to load.
Oh.
Let's just give it some time. Did you guys see Jerry Lawler's tweet from on Friday?
Who?
Something about Andy's Jewish name?
No. Because he always posts the same thing every year, but he just said, who thinks Andy Kaufman should be in the celebrity wing of the WWE Hall of Fame? I do.
Wait, who? Okay, so hold on. Who said that?
Lawler.
Lawler said that?
Yeah.
Jerry Lawler.
That's incredible.
Yep.
So he put that up there. That's
Yeah.
Yeah.
wow,
And
man.
I just said, yes, yes, and that's happened. And I just wrote hashtag AK for Doddy whole thing to 115.
That is amazing.
And he
Well,
retweeted it as well, so.
maybe this is the year. I know it's going to be in California from what I hear, and so I really would like to get that Tony Clifton flash mob going on there. I really want to see that happen. So that's something I've got to start getting on.
I could see it happening in California.
Oh boy. Okay, so Lucy Armstrong put here the number 23 was prominent on Kaufman message boards well before the film, accounts, etc. Perhaps just a strange coincidence. Very interesting, because 23 actually, for those who are interested in numerology, 23 like actually is it means synchronicity. It means synchronicity, and then of course 2 plus 3 is 5, so that also is synchronicity. And then PQ, what he has to say about this is that 23s come from Robert Anton Wilson's Illuminati books, etc. That's interesting. I'm curious about that. Have you read them, Dave?
No, I haven't, but a friend of mine has. He's the one that told me all about it, actually. And he's the one that pointed out Zamuda in the movie, too.
So did Zamuda have lines in the movie?
I don't know, I've never seen it. He just told me Bob Zamuda was in it.
I have it, but I couldn't get through it, to be honest. It was pretty bad.
You couldn't get through 23?
No, it was bad. It was kind of pretentious.
According to my friends, just very disturbing to watch Jim Carrey in a drama, pretty much.
What was that? It's hard to watch Jim Carrey in a drama?
Yeah, that's what my friend
Yeah,
said.
that is true. I did like Man on the Moon was pretty good, but I didn't like The Truman Show.
I liked The Truman Show. It's one of my favorite movies, actually.
He's a great actor, though. I really like his comedy, especially.
I mean, he did a good job. I mean, he's sort of vanished now, in a way. Like, he only appears every once in a while. He was in Kick-Ass 2 as well, recently.
Yeah, he kind of distanced himself from that, too.
Yeah, like apparently, like, at the London premieres and, like, in Leicester Square, he just said that he's in, like, the idea that he was in the movie and stuff. And when they were gonna... There's this show called The Jonathan Ross Show in UK, and it's very similar to Letterman, but it's only airs on Saturday nights. And when they were doing the publicity for the movie, he didn't show up.
I know people got mad at him when he did that Charlton Heston spoof with the...
Yeah. I mean, apparently he was trying to take the mick out of Phil Hartman used to, like, impersonate him all the time. And apparently, like, Jim Carrey tried a bit too much.
He tried too much in terms of what? Being like, serious?
Trying to be better than Phil Hartman's legacy of impersonating Charlton Heston.
Oh. I didn't, you know what, I don't think I've ever seen
Look
for Charlton Heston's... Charlton Heston's narrates a sex tape or something like that. It's actually very, very funny.
John Lumberg.
And that's the reason. That's the reason I'm going to LA. Kurt.
Well, I can't wait to hang out with you while you're here. We'll definitely have to talk about Kaufman stuff, and I'll show you all the interesting things that Maddox sent me in the mail. I want to show. Real quick, Lundberg. John Lundberg here says number 23 is a terrible film. Lucy says, "Oh yes, Zamuda has lines. He plays a desk clerk." Thank you, Lucy. So now I want to watch it just to see that. PQ River, the Carrey film was worthless. He also says, watch Cable Guy or Man in the Moon again. Skip the 23 movie. I want to ask you guys. Do you think? Awesome. Oh yeah, it is. I want to ask you guys. Do you think that Zamuda has been sort of quietly watching all of this stuff unfold over time?
I think so. He might be watching us. He might be watching us now.
I wonder about that sometimes. I wonder about that.
I mean, I tell you one thing though. With the magic of Twitter though, and every other social media outlet, if you just press a hashtag with Andy Kaufman, and then maybe if you're a fan or anything else, if you just take the hashtag, Lord knows what shows up. So if Bob Zamuda is actually on Twitter right now, and he's actually trying to see what's trending worldwide, and then Andy is, for example, you never know.
Absolutely.
Hey, Brandon.
I want to say hello to you, Brandon. Welcome. I'm glad this worked.
What's up?
Brandon, your music, man, it's really it's been great to watch it evolve over this time. So your new song is just awesome. I can't wait to hear the album.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it.
I gotta have to check that out.
Cool. I think cops are pulling someone over outside my house. Woohoo!
Can you go? Is that mobile? Can you bring that outside so we can see what that looks like? All right, here we go.
Way!
See that?
Kaufman's on the loose. Kaufman's on the loose.
That's great. So Brandon, we were just saying, do you think Zamuta's been kind of following this stuff over this time, kind of watching all these shenanigans?
Yeah, I think so.
It's been very interesting how quiet he is,
Yeah, I mean, he's quiet, but he's also he's a sleazeball. Ask me.
You think he's a sleazeball?
Yeah.
That's actually interesting because we were just talking about the people who don't like Zamuta. What are the things about Zamuta that you do not like?
Well, he's been really quiet about all of this the whole time, except for just now when he's releasing a book.
Yeah, that's what I was saying as well.
It's kind of it's disturbing because like he put that thing on Twitter. What is it? Yesterday, Jack. He's like, I'll tell you how he killed himself, or I'll tell you how he faked his death.
Yeah, he did say that.
Yeah, and I'll tell you when and where and how in my new book. Coming out October 7th, everybody.
Yeah, that did sound a little gimmicky, I'll give you that.
But that's what I like, though.
It was
Why
really
would
sweet.
we have to buy... But Brandon, would you agree that it's stupid that we'll have to buy a book just to find out how he faked all this, instead of just doing an interview like a regular Joe?
Exactly.
Well, the great thing, though, is about books is that they're sort of immortalized, and you can always look back at them again and stuff like that, and you can kind of carry them with you on the subway or whatnot, and underline passages and dog-ear stuff. I kind of like that aspect of stuff, and just throughout this whole time, going back and checking out the books and kind of matching it up with the stuff that we've been sort of learning over time and stuff like that. It's really interesting to see how everything matches up. But I am very curious to see what the heck else they want to reveal, and because I thought after all this time you'd figure if Lynn in fact helped Kaufman fake his death, you figure at some point she would have told Zamuta about it. You figure at some point she would have revealed that to him.
Yeah, sure. Well, she did actually. She was the first one to admit she would actually shave his hair, wouldn't she?
She was the first one who did what?
To admit that she would actually shave his hair and it wasn't down to the chemotherapy, that his hair would fall down.
Right, yeah. She shaved his head, and of course he had the furry chest, so that was very suspect because apparently, I guess you lose all your hair everywhere, so it was a little weird. I want to read a couple of.
They would have aimed the therapy to his chest, right? I mean, his hair would have fallen out there.
You figure, yeah.
I think so, yeah.
That's true, yeah. John Lumberg says it's interesting to take a look at who the @KaufmanReturns account has followed. So that would be interesting for the at-home viewers when you have an opportunity. Check out @KaufmanReturns and then just look at who they've followed.
They're
just to
following
see.
you, Kurt. I noticed that the other day.
Well, it was so weird. I had just because I saw you post that thing on Facebook, and someone goes, "Where'd you find that?" And you go, "Oh, it was on Twitter." But I had not yet seen that. And sometimes I don't check my follower list to see who's following me, and I noticed I was one of the first. It was just crazy to me to see that I was one of the first people that he followed. So now it's it could look kind of strange and suspect right there, of course. That maybe I don't know. Everyone's got theories.
But we need to think about one thing here, guys. The whole thing about him faking his death, it was never really explored in the book. It was actually explored in the movie.
Man on the Moon?
Yeah, at the end.
It was
Slightly.
explored in the Zamuta book a little bit.
Because Bob is in the audience when he's really meant to be playing Tony Clifton, isn't he? Unless it was Michael that we don't know about.
Well, and it's interesting because they never actually talk about the idea of him faking his death in that movie. There's that one line where he says something about, "Short of faking my death, That's the only thing he says in the movie concerning that.
You know,
And-
there's a few deleted scenes where he mentions it too.
Really?
Yeah, if you get the DVD with the deleted scenes, he said somebody later in the movie. Can you imagine how famous I'll be if I fake my death or something like that?
Wow. Wow. I wish they would have left that in there.
I do too. They should have.
Because it's such a
DVD,
it's such a
he
fun
was
question.
plotting it. It was a big part of his life, even if he didn't do it.
And I'm
I think enough people were talking about it when he died. You know what I mean? Like the Inquirer had a thing when he died, saying that you know, maybe it was a joke. You know, it was in the book. It revealed yeah.
Yeah, and Bob even questions it still at the time.
Well, and it was a fun thing too because they were in the Kaufman Revealed book. Zmuda talks about how they knew that there was this particular restaurant. There was a woman who would hang out there who worked for the National Enquirer, and she would sit in this particular booth and just listen for good stories to be able to bring back to the Enquirer. So they knew that she was who she was, but she didn't know that they knew who she was. So they would hide over there near a booth, and they would start dropping these little hints and all these little rumors and stuff, knowing that she would end up getting it into the Enquirer and printing it. So I thought that was kind of a fun thing. Oh, and so that picture that you end up seeing online, where Kaufman is actually smiling and he's sitting in his wheelchair, and Zmuda is like happily pushing him, and he's like this. He's like it's a glamour shot, like he's posing for a photo, and he's sitting in his wheelchair, and it just looks so funny, you know. And there's that theory that they could have possibly called up the Enquirer and said, "Hey, why don't you come on out here? We're going to be moving along to the airport. Why don't you come out and take some photos?" So that could have been planned, you know.
And I do know that apparently in the book it says that he does flip at the paparazzis or something.
Yeah, he gets out of his seat and starts screaming at him and chasing after him, right?
Or do people have any fucking lives or something? That's what he yelled at him. Or you parasites or something. That's what he called them.
That was it. Guys, I'm gonna have my dinner and I'll be back in about 30, 40 minutes.
Cool. All right, Dave. Have good dinner. In the meantime, I want to read some of this stuff that some of these people have put over here. Let's see.
In a bit, guys.
Okay, bye, Dave. George says, someone tell Jack he can't see the chat. Someone tell Jack he can't see the chat. I don't know, Jack, can you see the chat?
No, I can't.
Oh, I guess
David couldn't either.
Oh, the question area only, I guess for some. Oh, try this, you guys. Over on the left side.
Oh, okay, go ahead.
On the left side there, it says Q&A. And that, like, in that little, there's like a little thing over there on your left hand side, you know, where you see all the different things. Let's see, there's one. So if you click on Q&A, it might pop up that little thing for you guys. That's what I had.
This is how it was earlier, and it's still not showing anything. It's showing that Brandon joined the group and that Dave left the group, but there's no messages from anybody. Do you see messages?
Well, there's a chat icon there.
Yeah, I clicked it. Sorry. It's not tells who entered and who's left. There's no dialogue.
Yeah, it's not showing a chat.
Something I want to read here that Lucy put. She says, interesting anecdote from the screenwriters of Man on the Moon. They have discussed the tapes they received for research. Kaufman describing events. They have said at times that they seemed eerie, almost as if they were recorded contemporarily for the purpose. It's possible Zmuda hasn't been as quiet as it appears. Oh, that's those are good points there, Lucy. I love hearing from people who are just coming into this stuff and coming across all this crazy information. I know it can be an information overload. I mean, I know just throughout the years it's been just crazy to look at all this stuff. And George is saying, someone tell Jack to leave and come back. I don't know what that does. Maybe it helps you see the Q&A or something. I'm not sure.
Well, I see Brandon's dialogue now. He wrote no dialogue. His text wrote no dialogue.
Oh, okay. So that's right. There's a chat. Okay, so there's the chat. Okay, there we no dialogue. Yes. So there's group chat. Okay, okay. So you guys, let me take you through this. In the top left there, so it says chat, and then you go down 3 of them, and it says Q&A. And then when you click on that one, that brings up another kind of chat thing.
Oh, okay, I got it.
So
it's
that
loading now. It should work.
So let's see. Oh, George is saying. Oh yeah, okay. So George thinks that if you log out and log back in, he says he thinks you might be able to see the chat because it happened to him last time. But
I can see
if
it
you
now.
click on that, do you see it when you click the Q&A?
Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
River, yeah, and Lucy Armstrong, and yeah.
Oh, good. So let's see. So PQ, he says Zamuda has been cashing in for 30 years. I think even Andy would have said Bob enough. Something else that PQ River says, I want a Heartbeat sequel. I would love to have a Heartbeat sequel. In fact, I think it'd be phenomenal to make the Tony Clifton story. I think it'd be phenomenal to get that out there. And gosh, that'd be so cool to actually see that.
Oh, that would be great. They should have made it to begin with. Was it
Oh,
Universal that balked on it, or?
I guess so. That was one of the things that in this Lost in the Funhouse book that I was recently reading, the they really were gonna do this whole movie, you know, the Tony Clifton movie. John Landis was gonna direct it, the Blues Brothers director, which would have been phenomenal. And then something happened where he was offered Heartbeeps, and they go, no, let's do Heartbeeps first, and then maybe let's do the Tony Clifton thing. But then once Heartbeeps didn't make money, then all of a sudden they're going, okay, there's a fat chance we're ever going to make Tony Clifton movie, because you know, it's interesting how they blame the actors on movies that don't do well, right? Isn't that weird? They're like, oh well, you know, he was in a terrible movie, so he's a terrible actor, and you know, it was because he was in that movie that it didn't do good. It's so interesting how you hear that kind of stuff.
Remember In God We Trust?
You know what? I want to see. Is that the one where he's a cop and he flips out?
No, he's a preacher. That's God Told Me To. But he's Armageddon T. Thunderbird. He does such a good performance in that movie that, you know, the rest of the movie might be kind of crappy, but his performance is very good.
The little pieces that I've seen just on YouTube are just awesome. That's a movie I still got to see. You saw the whole movie?
Yeah, I have it somewhere. I used to have it. I don't know what happened to it.
Oh, that's phenomenal. I got to get that. Just the other day, I ordered, and I know you can see it for free on YouTube, but it's just cool to see the actual DVD. Look at that. Johnny and Lenny Legend present. Look, you can see Lynn Margulies up there. And, of course, there's her brother Johnny Legend up there with the big old beard. So I'm from Hollywood, and the cool thing is,
yeah, I got that too.
Oh, you got that? And with it says here, I hate your guts, Andy Kaufman. I guess there's that. Yeah. That little piece. So I still got to see this to see what those are all about. Do they read from the book, Brandon, or what?
I don't know if I've seen that part. I do have the DVD though.
Man, how fun! And when you hear Len discuss this and the whole making of it, they wanted to leave it with this big question mark in the people's minds, going, okay, was he really, you know, crazy? Did he really flip out, or was this just was it just something that was fun that he was doing? Oh, so Lucy.
I just saw the. Sorry.
Oh, no, go on.
I saw the unedited version of that recently. I'm from Hollywood, maybe on YouTube. But I just saw the Comedy Central version. I taped that like 10 years ago. There was a lot of good stuff they didn't show on Comedy Central. You know, they probably cut a good 10 or 15 minutes out of it.
Was it just more interviews with people, or just more footage of wrestling, or?
It's like, wasn't that part like where he was showing them how to use the soap and stuff, and calling people disgusting? Wasn't that on there? Because I don't remember that being on Comedy Central. And
wow, that's a good.
It's almost like it's all blurring together to me right now, the custom stuff.
Yes, I know. It seems to do that to people. Just when you think you got a handle on the situation, all of a sudden it's like gets slippery again. You know, you can't really. There's really never a strong footing. You know. Lucy says here, Carrie backed out a promo for the film. That must have been Kick-Ass. It was in response to the school shootings that happened in the weeks before the release because of the violence in the film. Lucy also asks, is there a chat beyond this question sidebar? How do I join? I don't really know, Lucy. I don't really know how to get you into that. I I I don't know. I'll do what I can here, Lucy. But I am basically, we're kind of making this up as we go along, so to speak. I think just today was a huge victory in just figuring out that you can actually, how to actually invite the people to the very discussion that's going on, rather than just inviting them to watch it on YouTube. And so that little piece was a big victory, and I need to still figure my way around here. So it's good that we're having these things, man, because here we're able to kind of discuss what things we've learned throughout the years, what things that, for instance, Brandon, I don't know if you can hear us still. When did you first get into the whole AndyKaufmanLives.com or any of that stuff? How did you get led to it?
Around the time Man in the Moon came out, I had been fascinated with the idea that Andy Kaufman could have faked his death. I read something on the internet, or I heard something on TV or something along those lines that drew me to the idea that this dude may still be alive. So I got into Andy Kaufman point, and then Man on the Moon came out, and I watched the movie and went into this big Andy Kaufman phase where I was just like, Andy Kaufman, everything, blah, blah, blah. And so I would go online and just type in Andy Kaufman fake death, and it would bring up different, Google searches, and stumbled on the AndyKaufmanLives.com website, and became completely enamored with the idea that this thing may be, run by Andy Kaufman himself, and
Yes.
came up with all kinds of crackpot theories on who King was, and all kinds of stuff, and started my own accounts, the AGKMNII account,
Yeah.
the Faceless Man, and all that stuff. And I don't know, I just got into it. Never really paid too much attention to how, though. I just sort of stumbled into it and been there ever since.
Were you reading like Wave and Awake forums or the network? What is it? Network 54 or something like that?
I was on the Wave and Wake forum. I'd go on the chat every night, and me and Spooky would start trouble. It was fun.
Man, it's so it was such an exciting time when it was just this unknown. Is he behind it? Did he change his name to Stephen Maddox? Is he, what's going on? And then you'd see those crazy little notes up there where it says that then somehow Steve Rocco was brought into it, and and then Steve Maddox would go, well, I'm just sent these things through a fax or something, and then I just kind of put them up there. He tells me what to do, and I just kind of do it. I mean, it was just such a fun mystery to keep following along, and because you know what, no one else out there has, as far as I know, theories about it or how it happened or.
Well, it's weird. It's weird. Like when me and my friend, I used to work at a grocery store at night, so we'd do night stock. And so we'd go in at like 9 o'clock at night and leave at 8 in the morning. And so that's pretty much all we talked about when we were at work. And we came up with some really interesting theories about King. Just the name King and the whole I am King thing. We came up with some interesting things. I mean, say them out loud now, that's a little bit true. Like King itself, if you were to, he decided to look at the numbers and all that stuff and figure out what King meant. And he found out that at the time when that website was around, King in numerology actually spelt out his actual age of what he would have been. So it would have been 59 or 58 or something like that.
Whoa,
that's weird. I never knew that.
And then, so I am King. When you rearrange the letters, you get AGKMNII. If you are crazy enough, I guess, to figure out that AGKMN is actually Andrew Jeffrey Kaufman, and then II, Roman numerology, right, is a 2. So it made sense to me that it said Andrew Jeffrey Kaufman 2. So someone's playing this part, right? It was weird. It was a weird coincidence. I doubt that he actually set it up that way, but it's a weird coincidence that that's what it actually spelt out. So that's where I
Man.
took my name from.
That's just phenomenal. Those kinds of things are, you know, I think even whether they're just written off as a coincidence or, I mean, just to get excited about something like that, I think is like the main, you know, the main thing of it. That's like absolutely brilliant. And you know, I found so many things like that over this time, stuff that I'd see Maddox put up on Twitter, and then I'd see it actually reflected out there in the world, or it's very uncanny how so much of this stuff just happens to match up in this fashion. Sherry,
Well, it was weird. We
Yeah.
did the. I was gonna say we did the Faceless Man videos to try and like reveal all of that stuff, but we didn't want to say it out loud in case we were wrong. So all of our videos were some like really ambiguous attempts to show that like we knew what was going on when really we probably didn't know what was going on. You know what I mean?
I think it's phenomenal. Those videos were awesome. The Faceless Man, it was great. And then when he makes the phone call and it's almost like a Charlie Chaplin film where he's kind of moving around fast, and man,
yeah,
those were great.
Black and white and speed them up so he looked like a silent movie star or something, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
I thought that was Maddox at first because, you know, the
Everybody
Faceless
did.
Man and the mystery. Yeah, I didn't know because I wasn't even following it. I just checked in one time and saw those videos. And thought, who the hell is that? That must be Maddox or something.
There were some crazy theories that said that me and Spooky were Maddox and Claire.
That's awesome. It's amazing when you see people come up with different theories like that, and you're going, wait a second, I've been asking you know, these people, I've been the one who's been asking questions about this stuff, you know, trying to figure this up, and now here these people are thinking that I got some kind of insider information. It's funny when that happens.
Well,
you
I
know,
did it to myself. In all fairness, I did it to myself.
Yeah, right. What were you saying, Jack?
Oh, I don't even remember. It must have not been that important.
So, Brandon, did you ever write to Enrique at andykaufmanlives.com? Did you ever get any of your questions answered on that site? You never wrote
No,
them?
my friend, like my partner in crime at the time did, though. The only thing that I had on the website was every time I posted a video, he would post the video on the homepage of andykaufmanlives.com. I thought that was kind of funny.
Wow, that is funny.
You post your video there?
Actually helped.
What, Jack?
Would he would post your video there on Andy Kaufman Lives?
Yeah.
Oh wow. So it didn't bother
I think that's
him.
how the idea that I was Maddox.
I think he likes to get away, you know, from who's him. He likes the confusion. Like when he was saying Steve Rocco was him, of course he's not Steve Rocco, but I think he likes people to believe that.
Yeah, it's almost like he would take whatever was trending highly, you know, in the world at that moment and go, zip, I'm just going to piggyback right on this thing and let that sort of have people sort of accidentally find their way there because they're searching for this thing, but then it goes zip, right down the line to andykaufmanlives.com.
And why didn't say that Steve Rocco was Andy Kaufman? Because he didn't even look like him.
Right.
The weird thing. I mean, he's eccentric, but that's about where the similarities end.
Yeah.
I think my favorite one was Ann Coulter was Andy Kaufman. I remember that story being
I remember
a thing.
that too. Yeah, like from 2004. And Rush Limbaugh.
Yeah.
1 second, I'll be right back. 1 second.
Jack.
What are you up to today?
Got a birthday dinner to go to.
Oh, yeah.
At 5. I thought I was going a lot earlier, so I didn't think I was going to be able to make it. But
Are you in Canada?
yeah.
Oh, okay. How do you like it there?
It's cold.
Yeah.
It's raining out right now. It's kind of
Cold here in the summer. I mean, in the winter. But
oh, we had the worst winter.
Oh, something real quick. I noticed that PQ put a couple of stuff up here. So first of all, he goes back at the time. This is in relation to the Tony Clifton film. Back at the time, a Clifton movie probably would have been too edgy and ahead of its time, and done as poorly as Heartbeats did. Andy's biggest problem was that he was so esoteric. Well, it's so interesting. Sometimes you got theories, and then the rest of the world ends up catching up with you. Sometimes 5 or 10 years down the line. That's the funny thing. Sometimes you find yourself with a theory, and then all of a sudden, everyone's going, well, that can't happen, or that's not real, or whatever. And all of a sudden, then science reveals that actually is something that's been going on this whole time, and they just finally discovered it, and now they can prove it. And now those people who were originally naysayers now are going, oh yeah, this thing is real, this thing, and you're going, well, I told you that like 10 years ago. I told you that like 5 years ago, And so that's the, with Andy Kaufman, I think he was just so, at least if you listen to the Andy and his grandmother, do you guys have that album, by the way?
I do have it. I do.
It's phenomenal, right? You actually get a look into his mind.
Yeah.
That's the crispiest thing that we have right now.
When I first heard it, the very last track on it is the one where he talks about killing himself or faking his death, and I didn't know that was on there, so I was kind of like, "What did I just hear?"
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But then I don't know. It makes you wonder. Was there I have this theory that like Jeff Buckley planned his legacy and then killed himself in Lake or the river, right? Like he drowned in the river. And it's possible that like Andy Kaufman, in his knowing that he was going to die, set up all of this stuff. You know what I mean?
Right.
And it's interesting. It gets you thinking.
That's actually a really good theory, where he wanted to keep people questioning, even though he died, he still kind of had the last laugh, right?
Yeah.
That's a really good theory too. That's a really good theory. And what's so crazy is that it is interesting that I think it was Maddox, one of those accounts on Twitter, tweeted that this is the only time up until this point, up until this recording, up until that, it was all just hearsay about him talking to people about faking his death and stuff. But right there, you got the evidence right there in the audio where he's joking around Zamuda, and I should come back. Was it you earlier, Jack, or was it Dave earlier who said something about they should go on Letterman's last show? Kaufman should show up.
Dave said that. That's a good idea. And what else is interesting is Maddox said that there's going to be video evidence pretty soon of them talking.
Gosh, and who knows when that's going to be? When that's going to be revealed and stuff. But the thing is like when you listen to these audio recordings, you can tell that Kaufman was just. It was almost like. This is kind of the way that I like to view it. I know every time that I make some kind of art, whether it's music or painting or something, I go into a zone, just like people who play sports or I don't know, whatever your particular discipline is in terms of your favorite hobby, where you just kind of go and you're just kind of in that zone and everything else just kind of disappears and stuff. I feel that he was so very obedient to those kinds of ideas and those kinds of like spirits that were kind of flowing through him, that he just kind of gave them the voice that they wanted to have. Whether it was going up on stage and sleeping in a sleeping bag and setting a timer, whether it was putting a refrigerator box up on stage and sitting in a little stool and balancing his checkbook and having people look through a hole in the side. It's like at that point so many people want to know, why are you doing that? Well, what's the point of this? What's the point of that? Well, sometimes the point is simply because you're excited and you're joyful, and it's just such a funny idea that you want to just actually see that emerge into reality as we know it. And in this book, it's talking about how he would always talk about how he wanted to go to Carnegie Hall, how he really wanted to have the milk and cookies and all that stuff. And George Shapiro was going, okay, Andy, okay. And, that's going to be very expensive, right, Andy? That's going to be very expensive, right? Okay, let's just appease him. Let's just get it out of the way, and then we'll get on to the next thing. But sure enough, he invented that reality. He had this crazy idea in his mind. Next thing he knows, he's actually inventing that reality for people to experience, which I think is phenomenal.
Right.
And so I think what happens when you get into that zone, you end up becoming ahead of your time in the sense, it's almost like being the first person to jump into the pool. If you're the first person to jump in the pool, you already know what the temperature is like. You already know what it's like to be flowing around in there. Now you're just waiting for other people to go, hey, okay, to have the bravery to jump in there, so to speak. And, in the meantime, 5 years might pass where people are dipping their toe into the water. Or maybe they got an ankle into the water. Maybe now they're in the shallow end, right? And they're going, okay, I'm kind of understanding this. But then what happens is, by the time everyone else jumps in there, they don't remember who that first person was that jumped into the pool. They will remember the crowd that brought them there, right? So I think that Kaufman was so far ahead of his time that now we're starting to see those, like, imagine, like they say in an earthquake, bam, here's the epicenter, and then the aftershock goes out like that. So Kaufman, like, let's imagine the crazy stuff he was doing. Bam, that was like the earthquake, and just now we're starting to feel that kind of aftershock, and we see it in stuff where you got Jackass, there's Tom Green, there's what's his name, Sacha Baron Cohen, Improv Everywhere. You got all those different aspects out there that are around because of Andy Kaufman. They might not even realize that. Some of them, their heart is probably after Andy Kaufman, but some of them they probably don't even realize. Maybe some of them were inspired by the carbon copies of Andy Kaufman. And in fact, if we want to go even farther back, well, what about Alan Abel? If you want to think about it, he was just like Andy Kaufman, so to speak. Mm-hmm. And just now we're starting to kind of hear stuff about him, thanks to Kane. Did you guys ever see Abel Raises Cain, the documentary about him?
No, I haven't seen that, but he sent me some of his books and stuff, and I like him. He's a really cool guy, and I have some of his press clippings and stuff. He
sent you some of his books?
Yeah, some press clippings and stuff. It's really cool.
That's awesome. Wow, man. He is just someone who I think would be so phenomenal to collaborate with. I think he is
a cool guy. I gotta give him that.
Let's get him in here.
I know. I know. You know, to the at-home viewers.
Too.
If the at-home viewers, if you guys could get Alan Abel in here, even Bob Zmuda, you know, I gotta say, even though he's using the faked death thing to help sell his book. The cool thing is, number one, we're going to learn some more insight about the mind of Andy Kaufman, which to me is the most important. I love to find out about the mechanics of his mind, and I look at the roots, the ingredients as to what, you know, it's like you look at the ingredients that make the cake, right? So you look at Andy Kaufman, you look at all those little tiny gears that help turn that mind that we all, you know, have come to know and love, and I love seeing those little gears. And so hearing something like Andy Kaufman and his grandmother, for instance, we actually get to see how his mind is going along. It's his very own perspective.
The problem is you get Bob Zmuda telling us that he helped write all that stuff. I don't think Bob Zmuda was as important as the movie leads you to believe, or as Andy Kaufman revealed leads you to believe, where he's Andy Kaufman's writer, where Bob Zmuda came up with all of these brilliant schemes to, you know, trick people or whatever. I mean, Andy Kaufman came up with that stuff, as far as I'm concerned.
His dad tried to sue him for those claims.
It just helped him execute.
You know, the milk and cookies claim. Zmuda said that was his idea, and Stanley tried to sue him for that. I think he did successfully sue him, but I'm not sure.
Wow.
I don't like that.
That's a tricky thing. I guess we'll never truly know unless we, you know, it's kind of like, think about this, like, okay, so Brandon, when you create a song that you've just created by yourself, just you and your guitar, no one else is around, you know, that's your perspective in that particular song that you've created. Now, let's say you take that song over to your friend's house, who now plays bass or plays the drums, for instance. Now they're adding these extra herbs and spices, these extra seasonings that you might not have seen before. Right? You might have just been carving this particular path, and all of a sudden they go, oh, what about this? What about that? What about this? Here are all these other extra things that you can add to it. And all of a sudden it enriches this entire thing. Now let's say you ask another person who jumps in, who has a trombone or something. Now it's almost like this little tiny seed that you had, which would have just been fine just on its own. Now all of a sudden it's grown with all these other perspectives. Now all of a sudden this thing is like, oh my gosh, I didn't know this tree could grow bananas on it. I didn't know this tree could grow oranges on it. I just originally wanted to make an apple tree. But here, with all these other extra people, we've done this like crazy hybrid sort of thing. Maybe it's something like that, where Kaufman had his own ideas, but then when Zmuda came in, because Zmuda also was very big in improv and stuff too, so it was almost, it's almost like meeting your own clone and not realizing that you have a clone. At least that's kind of how, slightly, the kind of analogy that I've been kind of thinking about as I read his books. They kind of find these, like, they're looking at each other going, oh wow, cool, I noticed this about this, I noticed this about that. All right, here's a little thing. Okay, let's try this. Okay, all right, okay, let's try that. And next thing you know, you have all these crazy things that are existing that maybe Kaufman might not have even thought about doing had Zmuda not been there to go, hey, here's another extra perspective that we can add on to it, you know? So That's the tricky thing.
That's
I would love to
interesting.
sit down.
That's what I said. I mean, I think that Zamuda helped Andy come up with these things or flesh out the idea, like you said. But like he didn't write them for him. Like if you read Revealed, he says I wrote this for him and this was my idea and this this was expressly my idea. I told him to go on Dinah Shore and dump the eggs and all kinds of stuff. Like it just bothers me. Like I have an interesting perspective of that. Like I arranged a musical in Florida a couple years ago, and I sat in the room and I arranged everything I could. I don't know how to play drums or arrange drums very well, so I had to get a drummer to come out and do that. And I'm not a very great bass player, but when I hired the band, they followed my chart except for the bass and drums, and they added the bass and the drums themselves. I arranged the show, but those two guys in the band helped me flesh that out. You know what I mean? And they didn't like tell me, hey, I want express credit for that. Like that's my idea kind of thing. They sat back and gave me, not that I wanted it either, but they sat back and gave the writing credit. Kept it as it was. That's what I think Zamuda should have done. You know what I mean? Like he could have been a silent ghost, but that's it. You know what I mean? I don't think it is important.
The eggs on Diane Shore and stuff. Who knows if that stuff's even true? Because there's no footage of it.
Right. Oh, hello. By the way, Dave. Hello.
Something Andy would do is Tony Clifton to me, but maybe I'm wrong.
Well, there is footage of the Dinah Shore show.
Yeah, but just not him dumping the eggs on her. Yeah.
They cut that. Yeah, they cut that out. So who knows if that actually happened? You're right.
Yeah.
I guess at the root of all this, whether I like your monocle, Dave. By the way, there he is. He's got his king hat and his monocle. That was awesome.
I'm the king.
I guess
I'm the king. I'm the new
king
of Memphis, Tennessee.
I guess at the heart of all this.
All I need to do is the dance part.
Say what? What, Dave?
All I need to do is to dance, and I'm right there already.
Yes. I just want to point out. So PQ River, Gene Shepard originated the milk and cookies thing years earlier. That's right, Gene Shepard. Gene Shepard, man, holy cow! If you read about iLibertine and what he did with that, it was phenomenal. It was completely Kaufman-esque. Do you guys know about the story of iLibertine?
No.
Okay, I'm sure you've seen Christmas Story, right?
Yeah.
No,
so
I don't know.
Christmas Story, it's one of the greatest Christmas films, and Jack, you deserve to check this out because it's a really fun film.
I'll check it out.
That movie is based on Gene Shepard. Gene Shepard was a DJ, and he would have this late night radio show. Oh, what is that? There he is! You got a Gene Shepard book. Phenomenal.
It's what
Isn't that interesting?
What the Christmas Story is based off of.
Oh my gosh! And it's called In God We Trust, which is very interesting because there's the Kaufman film we were just talking about earlier, Jack. In God We Trust. Wow. Okay. So yes, Brandon's. That's great, Brandon. Of course you got that.
Isn't In God We Trust the one with Monty Feldman as well?
Yeah. Feldman's in it too. He directed it.
So Brandon, Christmas Story is based off of that book?
Yeah.
That's phenomenal. So Gene Shepard, he started, he would tell his stories as a DJ on the radio late at night, and he called the people. He would do this. It was like really late, and the people. He said there are two different groups of people. There are the day people and the night people, and the day people are the people who they start their day at early in the morning. 9 to 5, they got their job, they go home, they drink their beer, and then they go to sleep, or they hang out with the kids, and then they go to sleep, and then their day starts over the exact same way the next day. He said the night people, they come home from their job, and then their day truly begins, which sometimes goes very late into the night. And so that was his audience, that was his crowd when he was giving his his radio show. So what he said was, this one day he goes, we're gonna play a little trick on the day people. We're going to play a little trick. Let's invent a book. Okay, let's invent a title. And so through a bunch of suggestions, they came up with the idea. iLibertine, right? Do you have a copy of that book, Brandon?
No, no, no. I'm getting my charger for laptop.
Oh,
But I know
gotcha,
the story now that you said that.
So, iLibertine, so they invented the name of this book. They invented the name of the author. They invented the entire premise. And they said, okay, tomorrow, when after work, I want you to go out to the bookstores. And I like, yeah, very scholarly, Jack, very scholarly. That's great. We have a king and a scholar. That's great. So
I'm trying to get it right.
So he had everybody go out to the bookstores and ask about this particular book, and say, "Oh yeah, it's made by Cambridge Press. It's a highfalutin book. It's done by this author, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera." So what happened was, he said, the first time they're probably going to say, "What are you talking about? I've never heard of that book." The second time they're going to say, I might have heard about that book." And the third time they're going to say, "Okay, let's order that book." So these people all these bookstores were trying to order this book that never existed, and they're going crazy trying to get this book, trying to get it out of their shelves, because people evidently really want to see this book. People started they started calling up Gene Shepherd and going, "You know what? My bridge club, these old ladies who play bridge, my bridge club, they also have a book club, and I heard them talking about." I brought up iLibertine to them, and I said, "Have you read iLibertine yet? It's a bestseller." And they go, "Oh yeah, I've read that book. Oh yeah. I haven't read the whole thing, but I'm kind of halfway through." So all these people were lying about the fact that they had read iLibertine simply because they wanted to be the cool kids. They wanted to be in the know, and they wanted to make it sound like, "Oh yeah, I know exactly what I'm talking about here." So what happened was, time passed, and then a journalist. Oh, this is another thing. Some college kid wrote a paper about iLibertine, and the grade that they got was an A, and it said "great research." It was all made up. The research was completely made up. So what happened was, at some point, Gene Shepherd gets a call from a journalist who happened to be listening to the show that night, and he goes, "Look, I've watched this crazy thing happen over X amount of months. I think it's time you come out and you give the reveal. I think it's time you let everybody know that you invented this." So he goes, okay. So they end up having an interview, and it goes into the newspaper, and the newspaper goes, "Gene Shepherd fools an audience." And Gene Shepherd goes, "No, I didn't fool the audience. My listeners fooled the audience. My listeners did it. I took their suggestions, and the next thing I know, they thought it was such a great idea that they ended up fooling the audience." And then what happened was, he and this other guy ended up becoming, oh gosh, what's his name? Sturgeon? I forgot what that guy's name is. They got commissioned to actually write that book. And then guess what? That book actually did become a #1 bestseller. So first they invented the idea of its reality, and then it actually became the reality, which I think is just so brilliant, the fact that happened. And had Andy Kaufman and him work together, and Alan Abel, man, that would just be such a phenomenal superhero team right there. And Bob Pagani, holy cow, you get those guys in a room, oh man.
Get rid of the Avengers.
Yes, right, it would have been like the Avengers, yes.
Except for
Very similar.
half of them are dead.
Except for what, Brandon?
I just said except half of them are dead. Wah wah.
Wah wah. So let's see. So PQ says Andy was definitely ahead of the curve, maybe even 10 years. Yeah, I think he was ahead of the curve 10 years. I think even 20 or 30 years. I think we're going to still continue to see stuff that that we saw that Kaufman, that we'll be able to actually trace the path. I think we'll actually be able to do that at some point. We'll see
that's
some
the
of the
reason
stuff.
That's the reason why I want to live in the US, because of all these things, you know.
So do you think that you'll someday live here, Dave?
No, I doubt it. I'm very well established here, and I like living here, to be honest. I mean, not that it's a bad thing to live in the US or anything else, but I mean, I go to the US often because my uncle lives there too.
So you want to be in the US because this is where it seems to be, that kind of like pranking and all that stuff seems to be prominent?
Yeah. Well, it is here as well, but not to the extent that it is in the US, you know.
Wow. I think it's interesting because the consciousness, I think the public consciousness is now starting to latch onto the idea of more of an absurd and dreamlike approach. For instance, if you watch a majority of the commercials these days, I don't know if you guys have been noticing, but a majority of the commercials these days are very absurd. They're very absurd. They're very, like, especially the Geico commercials, or I can't even think of the other ones that I've seen recently that are just completely absurd. And it's crazy because it seems like the mindset is moving more towards that idea of being able to embrace those ideas rather than standing on the outside and going, oh, what's that weird thing? Oh, look at that weird thing. Look at that weird thing. When the absurdity becomes more of a prominent thing than normalcy, now all of a sudden absurdity becomes the normal thing, right? So, and so what's awesome is, yeah, go on, Dave.
But it's also TV in general, you know. I mean, I watch a lot of American TV in my own right, and I do get US TV here too. But I mean, at the same time, you think, what's happened to TV? I mean, even the smallest things for a TV show, for example. Back then, in the old days, you would have a TV show opening, and they would actually go on for like a minute before the episode started. Nowadays, you don't even have that anymore.
Right, like the song and everything, and you know, there's like a special theme song, and they're all dancing around. And they show like the people who are in it and everything, and
you don't get that anymore. I think the only good opening nowadays on TV is The Big Bang Theory, and that's it, because it actually goes on for like a minute, and then it doesn't go on to the freeze frame of as to who's in it, but at the end you see all the characters. So you're seeing, oh look, Haley Kuroko's in this, or look, Johnny Galecki's in this, oh Jim Parsons in this, you know. But you don't actually get that anymore with TV. And that's why things Saturday Night Live on all these shows excels as well.
Man, well, I just feel that the sort of like the public consciousness is almost in a sense readying itself for, I mean, right there, it's now readying itself. Like for instance, Kaufman came back right now, he'd be right at home. Yet, could he do stuff that would still, I mean, I would love to believe that he could still do stuff that would still keep people guessing. You know, even though now the stuff he was doing back then, now it's sort of a normal thing that's been going on. I would still like to believe that he would still be way ahead of his time and still be doing things that...
Oh, I'm sure he would be.
Yeah, I agree.
With TMZ and all those things, he'd be screwing with all those people.
Jackson's just hit the nail right there. The thing is, nowadays with social media, like obviously he would do like his live shows and stuff. And with social media, you're like, oh, my God, you won't believe what Andy Kaufman just did. And you just want to sign up to Twitter and stuff. Or maybe like with mobile phones, cell phones, they would record what he's probably done, and that would probably go worldwide.
Oh, so very true.
So that's the way it works. I mean, it's the same thing with TV, you know. Like even the previews of the TV show, like, show more than they should. And then you just like, I gotta watch that episode on Monday or Tuesday or Wednesday or Thursday or Friday. It's like that all the time.
Well, I would definitely like to see what Kaufman would be creating. And let's say he did fake his death and all throughout this whole time. I would love to believe that he's still singing songs. Oh, by the way, have you guys seen Jack? I think you're friends with him, Alan Burrows on Facebook.
Yeah, he friended me on the 16th. I was wondering who the hell he is, because you know when Elvis supposedly faked his death and those Elvis impersonators online, their last name is Burrows. You know, that's the name Elvis supposedly took on or whatever.
Well, John Burroughs, yeah, that was one of his aliases that he'd used to like check into hotels and stuff. John Burroughs. But it's really interesting that it happens to be Alan Burrows, which reminds me, of course, of Alan Abel and Alan Terry and all those greats, all the Allens that are out there in the world, you know, and to know that here Alan Burrows.
Alan is a crazy person name.
Which Alan, Dave?
Alan Abel, for one.
Oh yeah, all those Allens are crazy. And what's interesting is that that Alan Burrows guy, all that's up there is just all this Elvis stuff. And so people are thinking, okay, is this Elvis? But the latest message he put up really alluded to the idea that he was Andy Kaufman. So now it's like this unknown, it's just this completely unknown thing.
That was weird because he's been there for a while too, you know, that account. He just didn't create that to pull a joke. It seems like it's been up for like 4 or 5 years, which I found interesting.
Yeah, it's crazy to know that that's been existing, that's been going on this whole time. And I spoke with a woman on there whose name is Treble, Treble, Treble. I've never met a person with that name. I wonder if she knows a person named Bass. Maybe that's her brother's name is Bass. But she was talking about that this Alan Burrows guy apparently had adopted her as her as his daughter, and you know, I think she thinks it's Elvis, and I don't know. I'm just curious to see what's going to come of this stuff. To me, it's fun entertainment. I don't really get.
I enjoy it.
Yeah, it's taught me so much. Have you guys? And I know. Obviously,
What
there's
was
the
it that he
tendency of
posted?
What, Dave?
What was it that he posted? I haven't seen that.
Let's see. Let me see if I can.
Did he friend you too, Kurt?
He did. Yes.
He friended on me on May 16th, and I was wondering who the hell it was, but then I saw the name Burroughs in the Elvis connection, and I thought, well, that's weird, and thank you very much, and stuff up there.
He's got a lot of.
Who I am.
He's got a lot of friends. Hold on a second. I'm gonna sign in right now. I'm gonna read directly from Alan. For those of you who are watching who happen to be on Facebook, if you look up ALAN Burroughs, BURROWS, you will find Alan Burroughs, and then you can see what I'm talking about here. Let's see. Here we go. The first thing I saw as I signed up here was your picture from long ago, Jack. 16, circa 2002.
Oh yeah. That was me with
all
my
right, so
brother.
let's see here. I'm gonna read off this page of Alan Burroughs because it's really interesting. Oh, okay. Boy, where is that one? Okay, here we go. May 16th. This is hard for me. It is still May 16th, so I will go ahead and say it. Because you all need to know the truth. 30 years ago, I did something very regrettable, but very much necessary. I can no longer sit around in the negative energy I created. This negative energy made me sick, and I wanted to know, was it possible at all to do what I did? And it was. Obviously. But it hurt my family bad, and I'm sorry, but I am walking a fine line. Since I was a kid, I loved Elvis deeply. I also used to hitchhike my way all around the country. That was my favorite way of traveling. You meet so many people and find so many stories when you hitchhike, or at least back when it was safe. So I put the 2 and 2 together and made 4. I had some necessary surgeries and began to hitchhike in a pink suit with nothing more than a briefcase containing a few clothes, pictures, and some of my childhood toys. I began to meet people and help them with their problems in the character of Elvis. I had a few shows as what is now called an Elvis tribute artist here and there, but it was never the same. I cannot give away who I am, as in write the name I was born under, because I'm walking a fine line, but I have left more than a hint in this post, I think. You can believe this story or you can believe something else. If you believe this is a cover, then so be it. If you believe I'm telling the truth at long last on this 30th anniversary of the Great Retirement, then that is fine also. To be honest, I don't want any of you to believe either possibilities. In Albuquerque, New Mexico.
What's funny is nobody else on there even caught on to who he was making reference to.
Yes.
Yeah.
I thought more people would know that. That almost made me wonder: are those real people that aren't? Or are they just not, Andy fans? Or you
That's
think
the thing, though, I mean, Jack. I mean, nowadays, when you speak about Andy Kaufman, I don't know how it is in the US, but people, they just reference to his stuff from Taxi. They don't really remember much else.
Yeah, that's true. I'll give you that.
Yeah, that's
And
true.
you know what-
I guess.
You know what
Unless
actually
Oh, yeah, go on.
Go on.
Well, I was going to say, unless this is the interesting thing. These are the ways that we learn about Kaufman, is either looking at old footage of I'm from Hollywood, looking at old footage of any of his wrestling stuff, looking up stuff on YouTube, Man on the Moon, any of these books about him. But unless we are not actively searching this out, what do we mostly have? Is just Taxi. That seems to be the most prominent thing that's out there, and a lot of folks, they still don't know about the crazy stand-up concoctions that he created throughout the years. A lot of people
I think he's kind of a mainstream guy that people would know him from. Yeah.
Crazy and eccentric.
Yeah, absolutely. Something I just want to read here that Lucy Armstrong says. Back in the day, I spoke with Abel. He was very friendly and open. Lucy, I'd love to know how you spoke to him and what those circumstances were in which you spoke to him. Something that was interesting that Maddox said the other day was that he had been in contact for Abel with Alan Abel because he wanted to hire Alan Abel to come out to, I think it was Indiana or something, to put on a talk about the I think it was the animals wearing pants. I think he wanted him to come out there and speak about that. And apparently Alan Abel had been following all the Andy Kaufman Lives stuff and ended up sending him copies of his book about how he faked his death. He sent them to Stephen Maddox, and one was addressed to Claire, one was addressed to King, one was addressed to Andy Kaufman. So Maddox goes, okay, it was right at that moment that I realized that he had been following along all this stuff, you know, and he was playing along with me. Oh, Lucy's...
Who better to learn from, I guess.
Yes.
Lucy
says...
I gotta get some pain pills real quick and make some coffee because my back's killing me, but I'll be back in 5 minutes. So.
Okay, very cool. We'll see you soon, Jack.
All right. See you in a minute.
Lucy wants us to link to the Burroughs account. She can't find it. All right, let's see here. Let me see if I can find this here. The Burroughs account. I'll put it right up here for anyone to. I don't know if, well, hopefully this comes up in the question and answer bar. I haven't yet tried to put a link into anything, but let's see if a link would actually work in there. Maybe. All right, so here we go. Here's the Burroughs, Alan Burroughs account. Let's see, I'm gonna see if I can. Oh, it doesn't let me type anything up there. Okay, I'm gonna go up into the chat. Well, the chat bar won't even work, will it? Other people can't see it. I guess you can only see the chat if you're in it. Okay, so Lucy, how about this? Look up the event. If you can go back to the actual event page of this, maybe that will help you. I'll post it on that event page. So let's see. Alan Burroughs Facebook. All right, here we go. Sharing it. So Lucy, if you're on that page, you should be able to see that. And by the way, John Pepe wrote something. Working hard in New Jersey to find forever homes for dogs and cats at Ridgewood Veterinary Hospital's pet adoption event. So I'll be unable to join you all, but I have a great hangout, and I look forward to watching the rebroadcast on YouTube later. Well, John Pepe, thank you for being a part of these shenanigans, of course, again, and good luck in finding homes for those animals. I think that's awesome. What you're doing out there for those animals.
I don't know if you agree, but I don't know if you agree with this, but do you think maybe Frank actually knows more than we do?
I don't know. I just have a feeling that throughout this time of watching this stuff unfold, it sounds to me that Frank just kind of accidentally got caught up into it, so to speak. And I have a
theory about Frank.
You what? Say it again, Brandon.
I have a theory about Frank.
What are your theories?
Well, I've had lunch with him a few times. And
really?
Yeah, I used to live in New York, and he would meet up with me a couple times. I've done a couple of band interviews when my band was traveling down to Florida. We stopped in New York and did an interview with him at the Highline Park. Online, right now he's not really into it. He's not really following it too much. At least that's what he says. But back in the day, online he had a really big presence. You know what I mean? He was always there, always at the front of everything. And when you talk to him in person, he didn't know anything. Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. He's like, yeah, I don't know what you're talking about. You know. When early on, I remember when I did the Chipotle call, when I called Chipotle that one time.
Yes.
It was after Maddox had posted on Twitter that he was at Chipotle Nora. Made no sense to me. At the time, it didn't make any sense to me. And then when I started realizing that Frank had a bigger role in it, I've questioned him about this too. If he watches this and he gets mad at me, I'm sorry, but I've questioned him about this 1,000 times. You know, I wonder if he was in on the whole, if he was in on it, You know what I mean? In the beginning, I also had a theory that maybe the Maddox character was being passed around, so different people were playing it at different times. And when Frank was doing the press conference, he was actually having his character of Maddox being passed on at that moment. Do you know what I mean? Like he was.
Wow.
I don't know. It seems weird to me that Frank is so silent, but was also so very visible in all of this, you know. And the Chipotle Nora thing was a huge, messed with me a little bit.
I mean,
Like,
that's how I came to find out about the whole thing that he was in Albuquerque and stuff.
How? Through Frank Nora?
Yeah, this was in 2008. It was right before the press conference. I think it was September 2008, if I recall.
And so, how did you hear about him, or what? What was the circumstance surrounding that?
I just remember, like, what caught my eye because I was actually on that Friends of Andy Kaufman group, and somebody had messaged me about it, and I thought, maybe it's true. I don't know. It's like, oh, this is this guy who's actually interviewed him, and I'm like, really? And I thought, I was all intrigued because I thought I'd actually hear with the same old Andy voice, "Hey Frank, how you doing?" And obviously then the voice was dubbed, and then the intrigue of the press conference, is he really going to come out? Is he going to reveal himself? And then it just cut on from there, and so far that even in that same Huffington Post that Jack was interviewed on and Frank was interviewed on, my name is not mentioned, but it's mentioned that a guy from Gibraltar was in on it, and so.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, the press conference itself was. I remember watching it. I made a video of it after watching it because I was struck by the idea that the only thing that really happened was a puppet show, and I remember that, like, I used the clip from that Ed Wood movie. What was it called? I think it's Glen or Glenda. When Bela Lugosi's like, pull the strings, pull the strings.
Yeah.
And,
yeah.
I thought it was interesting that the whole point of the press conference seemed to be anything I tell you, anything I say or do, you guys are all gonna just sit there and follow me because, like, I'm your puppet master or whatever, And I felt that the whole Maddox thing, that's what I got out of it, because the Maddox and the Andy Kaufman thing all took a really kind of negative turn. I felt like there was people involved that were poking fun at the people who were trying to find out what was going on, and like making it kind of like a poor taste game. You know what I mean? Not that Frank had anything.
Chris Gethard interviewed him as well.
Yeah. He was in on it.
And he was telling me that when I messaged him about it once, he just said, "Oh, it looked too young to be Andy," because apparently he's started without the mask and stuff. So, which probably means it was Maddox, for all we know.
Chris Gethard said he saw him without his mask on?
Apparently so. I don't know. I take his word. I don't know if it's true or not, but I just remember him saying that, and the guy, he just said that the guy looks.
Which is really interesting that, like, the cars. There were like
Brandon.
people talking about how the vans that were pulling away were all from Indiana. They all had Indiana license plates, and I thought that was interesting because that's about the time when everybody was saying that that's where Maddox lived, and that was about the time when the Troy video was posted. That's about the time all of that stuff was going down. So it seemed really convenient to say that like the couple people that saw the vans pull away were members of the press conference, and they also said that the license plates were from Indiana. I don't buy it, number one, but I don't know. It seemed like a bunch of people trying to, like, just perpetuate the idea, I
mean, you just never know. I mean, that Death of Andy Kaufman thing, I don't know if you guys have seen it, by Christopher Maloney, explores the same reason.
Yeah, I've seen that.
And it's just a whole bio, and then you try to see him trying to find Andy. And he goes to Taos in New Mexico, of all places, where apparently he was living. But I'm not saying it's impossible, but I could also say it's also very possible that he is out there. If he is, and he's lived a good life, I'm not going to question it. But if he isn't, and he's actually been dead all this time, and then Samura's just trying to pull tricks on us and trying to buy the book, I'm not going to buy the book until I see someone posting it and say what the secret is all about, to be honest.
Why would you want the secret ruined for you? Why would you want it spoiled?
I don't know. I don't know.
Money.
I don't want to buy it and then it's actually something very bogus.
I think any information about Andy is well, for me, is exciting.
No, so it is for me too.
Something here that Lucy put was, Lucy said, regarding the Frank theories, it's important to temper guesses unless there is a direct evidence of something. I mean, in general, I've been on the other side of that with people convinced of things that were completely inaccurate.
For sure.
You know, that makes sense. Go on,
I
Brandon.
don't said that stuff just because it got brought up. Like, I don't actually believe that he's involved now, and I didn't.
No,
I was
it's disappeared from it.
only like, I don't know, 60%. I was only 60% convinced he was involved then. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, I've had those discussions with him, so it's not like if he's watching this, he's not going to get all like angry that I'm, you know.
I'm just saying, you know, I'm not saying he's directly involved, but I don't think he is. But if he is, maybe he's got his reasons to actually keep hidden what he knows, and that's it. You know?
Well, so Brandon,
Nobody-
were you aware of Frank before you went on? Because you were saying you met him while you went on tour or something.
I knew Frank through all of this. I met Frank online through the Andy Kaufman stuff. So like he would have his big Skype interview sessions where he would invite a bunch of people through a Skype phone call, like me and Spooky and Kat, and I think Zach was there, and Yannick, and everybody from like the good old days on the posts on the chat room.
Mm-hmm.
And we would all get like interviewed, and we would do basically what we're doing right now, but with the phone call.
Oh.
And so it was the early days, you know, the prehistoric internet days.
So you basically met him through all of this stuff, and then you actually met him in person?
Yeah, like when I say I lived in New York. I lived there for like 3 months at a time, and then I came home. I was dating a girl who lived in Manhattan, so I'd go and stay there for like 3 months, and then come home for a couple of weeks and go back for like 3 months. So my first time there, I only knew her, and I was like, well, wait a second, I know Frank, and I also Brian Jude, who was part of this too at one point, or met him as well, and had lunch, and it was fun. So I mean, yeah, I met him for the first time when I went to New York, but it was based on all this. So like our only what do you call it, like correspondence before that point was all Andy Kaufman stuff. So when we met, you know, we had lunch at this really, really depressing diner, and we talked about Andy Kaufman, and we talked about all that, and I questioned him. I was like, are you in on it, you know? No, I'm not. I have nothing to do with it. I don't know, you know? But he always said it with a smile, and if he's watching this, he said it with a smirk, and it's his smirk.
Yeah.
It's his smirk that throws me off, because he always says it with a smirk. He's like, nah, I don't know what you're talking about, you know?
Well, he does smile a lot, though. He's always smiling. You ever notice that?
Yeah, he does.
It's like he knows something that we don't. I don't like that.
That's what I mean. If he knows, so be it. If not, meh. I mean, I don't know if I was going to tell you guys about this. I was on my local bus here in Gibraltar a few weeks ago, and this guy sat next to me, and he just said, "Oh, you're from Gibraltar?" I'm like, "Yeah." And he's like, "Well, I come from New York." I said, "Oh, really? What part?" And I said, he just said Long Island, and I just said, "Well, one of my inspirations is from Long Island." And he goes, "Let me guess, Andy Kaufman, right?"
Oh! Let me guess, Andy Kaufman. That's brilliant.
Nice.
It just caught me off guard, and I was like, "Yeah." And I actually had to get off at the next stop. If not, I would just continue talking to him all day.
Amazing. Wow, man.
That was really, really intriguing, though.
Yeah, I would say that's very intriguing.
Because Because you could have said any other Long Island celebrity. I don't know many celebrities from Long Island itself. I know them because they always say New York. They don't say they're from Long Island or anything else.
The Long Island.
Usually they just say.
They just say New York, don't they?
Yes, you're right, Dave. Brandon? Did you just say there was a Long Island, Ohio?
No, I said Long Island medium. He just said, I don't know any other celebrities from Long Island. I said, well, what about the Long Island medium?
Oh, that's great. That's great.
I don't think he gets that.
Do you guys get that show out there, Dave? The Long Island medium?
It's somewhere on one of those channels. I think it's this channel called Dave Giroux. I think it's on there.
Well, there you go. That's another one.
I mean, I do get American TV here, I get my American channels for this box I bought a few months ago. So, not that I watch much American TV. I only watch it the next day because obviously because of time difference. But
so, Kurt.
Yes.
I don't know how much of this I missed. You get involved in all of this.
Let's see. I mentioned a little bit of just the other day during the Google Hangout. John Lundberg asked me how I got involved with Andy Kaufman, and just to give a quick short story, he was always someone that was just kind of like in the back of.
Really, Kaufman?
Yes. Always in the back of my mind, like throughout my life, I'd hear about Andy Kaufman, or I remember when I was a little kid, I was too young to watch Taxi, so my bedtime was before the show came on, but I could hear it going on out there in the living room and stuff. And the few times where I caught a glimpse of Kaufman, I always thought he was just such an interesting, just a strange guy. And then I think years later, I ended up seeing Uncle Andy's Funhouse. At the time, I didn't know what that was, but I remember the piece in it where he's in the show. He's the bright, cheerful Andy Kaufman, and then when he goes to a commercial break, all of a sudden he's a big jerk and he's yelling at Zamudi. He's like, "Where's my water? I want spring water. This is and he's yelling at him, and all of a sudden, okay, we're back.
This is good stuff. What? Yeah. What is this? It's seltzer, Andy. Oh, this good stuff. Seltzer.
Yeah. Yes. So that.
I love that.
I loved that, and that was
okay.
Yes. Okay. And so after watching that kind of like reverberated through my mind throughout the years, and I ended up putting on a skit in this college class that I had where it was called the Johnny Shepherd Show, and so I had these different people on the show. I mean, I was putting on it in the classroom, and I had the whole idea was that I would be this one way, very charismatic guy, but then once we went to a commercial break, I'd just be this irate guy. And back then when I was putting that on, I didn't realize what the reference was at that time. Now looking back, I'm going, oh, I think the reference was watching the Uncle Andy's Funhouse. But back then, I didn't realize that was what had influenced me. And so then I ended up reading Andy Kaufman Revealed. I ended up seeing this TV Land thing where they showed like all these different. It was in to help promote the Man on the Moon movie. So they showed TV Land all the episodes of Andy Kaufman, and that got me hooked into it. And then so as I was reading these books, I'm going, oh my gosh, this is the first time I've heard about the fact that he. Oh no, that's what it was. Back in high school, I had a girlfriend whose brother was talking a little bit about Andy Kaufman. So little bits and pieces. He was kind of seasoned throughout my life, and I'd hear about this stuff. And then when I saw those TV Land episodes, then it was so great to actually see him in action. And then I read the books, and I moved out to California, and I started going, oh my gosh, this is so great. I'm living in this area where all this crazy stuff happened. And so I started looking at California in this different light. And then I ended up, I think I started just searching online, for Andy Kaufman faked his death or any of that stuff because I had read those books. And then that led me to AndyKaufmanLives.com, I think. Yeah, and then I went to the Dead or Alive show, which was at the House of Blues. I went to that Tony Clifton show. It was outside there that I met Fugly the Clown, who was giving away stickers of AndyLives.org. And I thought, ooh, that'd be interesting if this was Andy Kaufman. That'd be so funny. But he was just this short guy, and I don't think I knew like how tall Andy Kaufman was at that point. But I remember seeing the show. Yeah, like he's like 6 feet tall or something, right?
I think, if I'm not mistaken, he's only like a tad bit taller than Jerry Lawler, and Jerry Lawler's like 6'1", so.
Oh, So there you go. So that couldn't have been Kaufman, just some guy in a clown suit. But that's how I was led to AndyLives.org, and then we went across the street to the Comedy Store for Milk and Cookies. Oh, for Milk and Cookies, but then there was also midget wrestling. They were all in luchador masks. So there was this big midget wrestling thing going on. And they're like, okay, it's the end of the show. All right, see you guys later. And I remember leaving that thing going, I feel like I need to stick around. I have a feeling there might be something here that I need to see. But we didn't stick around. We drove away, and as we were driving away, I looked behind me, and I saw Tony Clifton with a whole line of people following him up Sunset Boulevard to an apartment that apparently Andy Kaufman used to live at some point. And I think it was in there that Wally Winger brought in his Andy Kaufman memorabilia. There was a mannequin with like the Elvis suit. I don't know. I just know from the things I've read online, and I guess that's where those postcards. I don't know if you guys have seen the pictures of like the postcards, the Houdini postcards for AndyKaufmanLives.com.
Yeah.
Those postcards.
From Aruba.
Right, and apparently those postcards were left in that apartment. So that's how people ended up finding out about that. So then I would type into AndyKaufmanLives.com. I would send in questions to Enrique at AndyKaufmanLives.com, and he would end up answering my questions. And it turns out, I guess, Maddox was there. And so that's how I got kind of involved in everything. And I started looking at the Wave and Wake forums and following the Network 54 and just digging up whatever I could and just being completely fascinated with this stuff. And I just learned so much because the stuff that I was looking at on AndyKaufmanLives.com. Say what? What?
I just said it's a rabbit hole.
It really is. It really is, and I think that's what fascinates me the most because I love David Lynch. I love David Lynch films and stuff, which are in a sense rabbit holes, because it puts the ball in your court. It goes, okay, you go. You decide what to do with it. I'm not going to give you any answers. I'm not going to answer any questions. I'll let you figure it out. And
I mean, I remember the first time I watched I'm from Hollywood. I was actually in the US at the time.
Really?
I was 9. No, I was 10. First time I saw it. Well, I was actually in LA.
And so
not LA. I was San Clemente.
Oh, San Clemente. What did you think when you saw that?
Obviously, I only watched it because it was Jerry Lawler, and obviously I was familiar with Jerry because of the WWE, and obviously I didn't really know. Obviously, back then I'm only 10, and I didn't really know about Jerry's tenure like in wrestling before going to the WWE. So I just stuck around and watched it, and I found it very interesting. And then when Man on the Moon came out, I remember my local theater here had it on, and my brother was saying, "Oh, we're going to go and watch it." But by the time it came out here, it was already out on DVD in the US. So I remember my brother just rented it from the video store on DVD. It was one of the first DVDs I actually bought. So it's like, "Oh, we're going to watch it," and I was just intrigued, and that's what got me really into it. And then there was this website on JVNet which had the frequently asked questions, and I don't know if you guys remember that site.
Yeah.
And that's how really I got more familiar with Andy and like his story about his siblings, about Lynn, and then obviously when I watch the movie now, and if I actually watch it for the first time with somebody else, I point out that didn't happen. That shouldn't have happened the way it did. So that shows you really different perspectives as how we got into Andy, because maybe we could get into him now, like anyone who's like 20 and didn't really see him back in his heyday. So my parents knew about Andy even before I actually told them about him.
Your friends knew about Andy before you told them about him?
No, my parents.
Oh.
Because my parents go, because you guys know BBC, right? British Broadcasting Corporation.
Yes.
They used to televise Taxi on that, and my mom actually told me, "Oh, that's the guy from Taxi who used to play the mechanic." But obviously she wasn't familiar with it all. And then nowadays, like even now when I'm talking to you guys, or if something comes up, she goes, "So is he dead or is he alive yet?" I'm like, well, so
it's great.
It catches on, you know, and it will catch on until something does come up.
Well, yeah,
confirm, suspicions.
Well, I think that's what's so exciting when we have stuff like the daughter showing up. What it does is, I just feel that the main point
even came out on the news in the UK.
That's so awesome, and then just seeing all the websites and everything. And what's so great is to have something like that up in the news. The main point is what it does is it drives people to learn more about Kaufman, because then they were going, wait a second, who's this guy and who's this daughter? And wait, they're saying that he could have faked his death, and then all of a sudden that's intriguing to people. Now all of a sudden they go start, checking that out. So it's awesome because then they start seeing the roots behind all this other stuff that's going on out there that was influenced by it. Jack, I just want to say welcome back. Welcome back. It's good to have you back here.
Welcome back, Jack.
Coffee here to wake me up. Thank you, Brandon.
For what?
I was gonna ask you guys, what do you think
the other
is
guy
the
that
best?
said welcome back? I couldn't tell who it was.
Oh, no, that was Kurt.
Oh.
Welcome back, Jack.
No, some guy aside from Kurt, I thought it was you. It must have been David.
It was me,
Kurt.
actually. With a Hulk Hogan voice, that was me. Welcome back, Jack.
Yeah, I didn't know who it was.
So, Dave, what you were saying something? You were asking us something?
What do you think is the most symbolic and most tribunal thing you've ever seen related to Andy? That's actually been done in his honor. What's the best thing you've ever seen?
That's so tricky. I mean, I would definitely have to say the AndyKaufmanLives.com stuff is pretty much a really good. It stays within the spirit of things that he would do, because the crazy thing is that way back then people didn't know that he was joking about stuff. But also, I say the daughter is also a pretty good tribute. I would think also as well. Brandon, what would you say?
Depending on the year, AndyKaufmanLives.com is a good tribute. Before it got like this, where we were able to before we were able to all come together in a chat room or something and discuss it and come up with theories together, it was a good tribute. When we started having our own voices within it, it started getting kind of dirty. People started getting mean. People started getting it started getting weird. In my experience, anyway.
No, I agree though.
Like we as the observer should have stayed the observer. It's good that we can't go back to it now. I'm glad that we have this to discuss and things like that. But we should have stayed the observer. You know what I mean? That because in the early days that was a great tribute to him. And yeah, the daughter thing was pretty funny.
Yeah, because it was fun because it brought attention to him. It got people talking about him and wondering about him, and especially
Twitter blew up that night.
Oh man. Oh,
I mean, I think
was so cool.
What doesn't get much credit, in my opinion, was the Comedy Salute by NBC.
The what? The what?
The Comedy Salute. The Comedy Salute they did from '95.
What? When was that?
Oh,
'95.
Comedy Central?
No, this was on NBC.
Yeah, oh, I've never
I think
seen
the Comedy Central. I mean, I know Comedy Central. Yeah, I think it's like a really 45-minute show, and it's hosted by Mary Luhan and what's his name, Bob Saget.
Hey, can we add links in here or not?
You know what? I don't know how to do that. The only thing I've been adding links into is the actual event page. That's the only thing.
Here's a YouTube icon.
Yeah, I wonder how that. What the hell? I'm gonna try something. Let's see.
Yeah.
Welcome YouTube. Hang on. Okay. Oh, you can see this. Oh. Wow. That's pretty cool. So. Huh. So you can actually put videos in here. That's add videos to players to search for videos to share. That's pretty cool. I didn't even know we could do that. That's awesome.
I'll try to find part of that Comedy Central salute if they have it on there.
It's actually pretty good though. I mean, I hadn't watched it because I remember, I don't know if you guys remember, I offered that website that's with to buy stuff.
The what?
I offer. There's a website similar to eBay.
Oh.
And I remember just basically buying that for like $15, I say. And I just remember it had the Comedy Salute on it, and I had wanted it for so long. And it also includes all his appearances on Letterman and on Saturday Night Live and stuff. It's actually pretty cool.
It is cool.
And I'll try and find it. I don't know where I've put it, but I know I've got it somewhere on my shelf.
Something I want to ask you guys about is the infamous letter that that Michael Kaufman talks about, and he says it's signed by Nathan McCoy. Do you notice that it seems like he always seems to quote the same piece over and over, knowing that there's a full letter?
Dear
right?
brother and Carol, or I'm sorry for what I did.
No, his story about Nathan McCoy changes every time he actually speaks out, though.
And what have you noticed, Dave, in that sense?
I mean, I remember in that what's it called? The Death of Andy Kaufman, that Christopher Maloney thing. They asked him about Nathan McCoy, and he was saying, "Oh, Nathan was just a friend of his, and he actually liked the name." And McCoy, because Grandma Pearl used to call him, "Are you kidding, Kid McCoy?" He doesn't, and then he changes his by saying that was actually an alias that Andy used to use.
It's very interesting because after following AndyKaufmanLives.com and all these little pieces that we've come across, what's interesting is anytime there's Andy Kaufman news or there's an interview, I always listen for little clues just to see if things are going to go bing bing, if they're going to strike. And yeah. I have seen those little things. It's very interesting. It's very interesting. Like for instance with for instance, AndyKaufmanLives.com. If you look through the archives, there was a time where it said the Book of Stephen. And then it was switched to the Book of Illusion, but it said the Book of Stephen. So what's interesting is Lynn Margulies came out with that art project called the Book of Steve, where she talks about apparently she had or has a brother who has mental illness. I don't know if he's schizophrenic or what, but apparently the exhibit is all about him and sort of his descent into madness. So it's interesting that there's the Book of Steve, yet there was the Book of Stephen on AndyKaufmanLives.com long ago. Now
the Steve thing is, before you finish, Kurt, I think that's where the whole Steve Rocco thing comes from as well.
It was accidental, I think.
Well, I remember hearing about the Steve Rocco thing that because he was so just strange and being a part of the Orange County, I don't know, teachers board or whatever, from the things that I heard, it was because he was just being so strange that people said, "Oh, it's very Andy Kaufman-esque the way he's doing this. I wouldn't be surprised if he was Andy Kaufman." And it started as a joke, and then from that, Stephen Maddox goes, "Oh, okay, you know what? I'm gonna just go ahead and since they already
roll with it.
Yeah, I'm just gonna keep going, zip, 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 just like lead them to believe that he's a part of AndyKaufmanLives.com, which is just such an interesting thing." And this is the other thing I wanted to say was concerning Lynn in that interview when the daughter shenanigans happened. She goes, "I was there. He died. He's dead. She goes, "The only way that it could have happened is if they switched the bodies." And I thought that was interesting that she left that little tiny piece in there. That little tiny piece. She could have just said, "No, he's dead. He's dead. He's dead." But she decided to go, "Well, unless they switched the bodies, it was." It's almost like she was kind of
leave it ambiguous, kind of.
Yes.
Yeah.
Knowing that there were people out there who. Yeah, go on, Brandon.
I was just gonna say that's the whole thing about it. Like, it feels like recently, anyway. It feels like I don't know about 7, 8 years ago, 5 years ago, but recently it feels like it's all Kaufman family that's doing it, right? And I don't know, just all the books and documentaries and stuff that are coming out. It just feels like it's morphed into a tribute to Andy Kaufman, was originally supposed to be, and that's probably why she said that, because she's in.
You think it was you think it's maybe CMG? Is that your opinion, maybe, or?
Sorry.
Do you think it's maybe CMG? The place that Maddox lived, he even brags about living across the street from there, from that company, CMG in Indiana, their headquarters.
Right, and they're connected with the estate to help kind of keep the memories alive of these various dead celebrities. And it is interesting because each time that some crazy Twitter stuff goes on, shortly thereafter there's another thing. Like for instance, oh gosh, I'm trying to think what was going on, but there was some crazy Twitter stuff going on around the time that Andy Kaufman, I Hate Your Guts by Lynn Margulies was released. And then.
And when that was released, that's around the time that German crew, the supposed German crew, exhumed Andy's body.
Oh yeah,
right.
Remember that?
I forgot about that.
That was horrible.
That creepy X-Files music and stuff.
Oh yeah, yeah. Yeah. And then the skeleton,
It was horrible.
The skeleton looks like it's like made out of paper mache.
It's like
It's
some
just-
movie Wood or something somebody
Oh man.
They probably just thought Andy was going to appear from behind the tombstone. I got ya. No, I'm only fooling.
They dig it up, they open it up, and he's still in there. Why, hello, thank you.
You know, somebody showed his grave.
Thank you
on
very much.
YouTube. Some fan went to see his grave recently, and
Oh no.
it's just not kept up good. You know what I mean? It's the grass around it, and there's just like shrubs blocking it and stuff. You think they would want it to be, I don't know.
I don't think that was really the grave though.
Yeah.
Are you talking about in the exhumation video, Brandon? That wasn't the grave? Or are you talking about the
Yeah,
one?
I'm talking about a different video. I probably should have differentiated what I was trying to say. But
I mean,
I'm trying to.
I do know one thing though. When I do go to New York eventually, that'll actually be the first thing I want to do. I do want to go and see his grave. If he really is dead.
Well, and that's an interesting point that people have brought up too. Is that his name is Andrew Jeffrey Kaufman. And people go, well, why wasn't that on the grave? Why was it Andy Kaufman? And then I think the family said, well, that's
Michael
what's supposed to be
says.
known as.
Yeah, Michael just said because people knew him as Andy, but he actually used to pronounce his full name sometimes, didn't he?
And say Andrew Jeffrey Kaufman?
No, it's like sometimes you'd actually go, my name. They call me Andy, but really my name is Andrew Jeffrey Kaufman. I think it was something like that I read.
Well, it's interesting too
Kurt,
because
Kurt, if I leave here for just 1 second, will it let me come back in? You think?
I think so. Oh yeah.
It's not letting me open another browser to go to you. Okay, if I'm not back in 20 minutes, that means maybe you should send me another invite. It won't let me in. But it won't let me go to YouTube. There's a video I wanted to share on here, so I'll be.
Oh
right
yeah.
back.
Okay, cool. Well, yeah, you guys 1 second. I'll be back too. I want to refill my drink. I'll be right back. In the meantime.
All right.
This was taken from this was the original photo from Jerry's Deli.
Oh, cool.
This was actually up on the walls of Jerry's Deli, and I can't divulge how I got a hold of this thing, but I have it now. Oh, how did
You
you
stole
get
it from the back alley, didn't you?
Hey, I would never say that.
That brings me to my next point.
Hey, what you doing with my picture? Where you from, Brad?
Brent, I'm from Canada.
Cool.
Yeah. Great
I'm
White.
way.
Sorry? You cut out there.
I'm on the other side of the world.
Ah. Nice. What's it like over on the other side of the world?
Well, it's not too bad. I mean, the sun's come out, so for the last week and a half, the sun's been out. So as long as it stays like this, perfectly fine. Seems summer's here to stay, I think.
It's dark there now, though, right? You guys are at night. It's nighttime there.
Yeah. It's 10:10 at night now.
Oh man. Midday here. It's 4 o'clock.
And that's the thing. That's why I was telling Kurt, like, it has to work around like my time because I can't really do it too late because of that. So it
Right.
sucks, but hey.
Right.
Jack, we've gotten the police on line 4.
I gotta send Jack another invite. I don't know if he needs another one, but I'm gonna send another one to him just for kicksters. Let's see. Oh yeah, I want to ask you guys.
I was gonna try and get Bob on it.
What, Dave?
I was gonna try and get Pagani on.
Is he? I would love to. I would love to get him in here. God,
I've only got him on Skype though.
He's on Skype?
I think so. Thing is, I cannot log on. If not, this thing is gonna freeze like hell.
I'm gonna add all the Bob Paganis that I see on here. It's gonna be a Pagani fest. You know, one of these times I would love to have one of these discussions and just invite all of the Andy Kaufmans that are on on the Google Hangouts and just get them all in here.
Are you Andy? Are you Andy? Are you Andy?
Yes. It would be so funny to see like what kind of commonalities they share with each other, if they've what they know about the Andy Kaufman, if they are fans of his, if they've been inspired by him in any way. It'd be very interesting.
Your dad's name's Stanley too. Oh my God.
That's
Well, that was
interesting
crazy.
though. Kurt. It's interesting though. I mean, like I went a couple years ago. I went through a phase thinking that you were definitely Andy Kaufman, or you were at least Stephen Maddox behind all this stuff.
I'm honored. I'm honored to think that anyone would think that I somehow masterminded this whole thing. Gosh, it's.
Let me ask
really
you a question. During when the Disciples thing started happening, a bunch of videos were posted.
Mm-hmm.
You posted one. Rebecca posted one.
Yes.
Sketchy or what was his name?
Well, Frank Nora. Oh, Crafty, my buddy Crafty posted one.
Yeah, and I started like kind of seeing connections between the four of you, and so it made sense to me that you were the head of it. I was posting videos about it and everything. It was pretty funny.
It was pretty funny. I think there were 3 people out there who started putting those conspiracy videos together, which it's just so.
All 3 of them were me.
Ah! That's awesome! Oh, that's brilliant! You did a great job, man. That is brilliant. Because there's a girl in one of them, and I'm like, okay, who's this girl now? And then the man with no face. I was like, okay, hold on a second. Are they doing a? It was almost like they're paying tribute to your character, and oh god, man, that's so awesome. That's so crazy. The mystery is revealed. All 3 of them. That's awesome. Yeah, because it was crazy.
The girl we didn't really know. She's a friend of mine now. At the time, we went to a cafe where I used to live, and I was like, "Yo, do you want to be in a video on YouTube for a minute?"
That's
so we gave
awesome.
we gave her a script, and she went on and said that she was a disciple. She's sitting in a cafe. That one.
Yeah.
Nothing like luring a random chick into a video. At least you didn't get her to do porn.
Oh, it was so cool because I love the fact that she seemed sort of confused about what she was saying. I like how she answered her. Like she goes, it was almost like after she said what she said, she would listen and consider like, did I just say that? I mean, I'm not really certain what I'm talking about here. So, and it was just awesome the way that she was saying that. Oh, good, Jack Bristow is back here. But yeah, it was interesting how Rebecca Foster, I don't know if she was from Chicago or from around the Chicagoland area, but the fact that Crafty... Okay, Dave. But the fact that, yeah, Crafty and I are both from the Chicagoland area, and it turned out that she was from the Chicagoland area, so I'm sure that looked kind of suspicious that somehow we were in on it and we all knew each other. Trying to think what the heck else was out there. That there's some other connections. That's right, yeah.
The only one. You were the only one that was really posting videos during that time too. At that point, you know what I mean? Everybody had sort of stopped. You were the only one keeping it going. So it made sense to me that if Kurt's keeping this thing going, and he's got all his friends involved, obviously Kurt's the guy that's keeping this thing going, right? He's the one that's behind it all. Makes sense to me. I mean, it's reasonable logic.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I'm honored to know that you and or anybody out there would put those pieces together and think that I was at I guess possibly one of the Stephen Maddoxes, or I don't know how you'd explain it, but it's because to me it's just been this huge crazy labyrinth trying to like, okay, what are the pieces here, what's going on, what's misdirection, what's a smoke and mirror, what's actually the real thing. Because I know Maddox would talk about how he would, like, for instance, AndyKaufmanLives.com, they would have all that information on there. And one of the hello, welcome back, Dave. One of the things that Maddox talked about was that he liked putting all of that stuff up there, and he puts pieces of the truth into it. He disguises it. And so he leaves it up to the audience to kind of try to figure out, okay, what's the real thing, what's the fake thing. Like, for instance, a lot of those testimonies that used to be up there were all fake. Not all of them, but some of them were fake. And I think he even claims that Lynn wrote one of them or something, or Michael wrote one of them or something. But yeah, man, I am just enthralled with this whole idea. And in fact, I would like to, I want to collaborate with, if, let's say Kaufman is out there right now, I really want to collaborate with him. And who's to say that we haven't been collaborating with him this whole time? Who's to say that he isn't somehow going, hey, let's just keep them, let's keep them running around. You know, let's just keep this thing going on.
Things have happened.
It's cool.
Hey, Kurt.
At the end of the day,
All of you guys. Sorry, I linked you guys. Go ahead. I'll say that.
Sorry. It's really cool to think that at the end of the day that if he is alive somewhere in the world watching all this and it gets revealed that's still alive, we're all participants. You know what I mean? In all of it.
Yeah.
You know, it's kind of cool.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh yeah. We helped keep the legacy alive. We became the megaphones. We helped promote this whole thing. I'm sure we've talked to many people and talked their ears off about this. I know when I would substitute teach, there were kids who didn't know who Andy Kaufman was, and I go, okay, you guys, I got to tell you a little something here. And I would start drawing up on the whiteboard all these different diagrams and going, well, Steve Rocco, he sometimes goes to Steve Rocco, sometimes he calls himself King. And so, like, these kids are going, what are you talking about, Mr. Clendenin? And I'm going, okay, just bear with me here. This is like a mystery I'm trying to solve. And I'd write up all this stuff up on the board, and I got, like, these junior high kids who are, all of a sudden they're getting interested in it. And
I can just imagine you getting caught up in the blackboard and then they just walk out.
Yeah, right. The lunch bell rings. Hold on, kids. I'm not finished yet. I'm still writing things down. I haven't done with my theory yet. Jack, what were you saying before? You were about to. You were going to say something.
Yeah. I tagged you on Facebook because I couldn't get that video on here. If you guys can figure out how to put it on, or if you.
I just heard it now. Yeah.
But if you could put it in the link thing, if it works for you, it wouldn't work for me. But I have it tagged for you, and I thought it was just kind of interesting. Whenever you get around to it.
Let's see. Hold on. I'm going to try this right now. I'm really anxious about, since now somehow I got the hang of being able to invite people into the being a part of the chat. I really want to keep this momentum going with learning more about this thing, because this is just such a great. Oh, here it is. Okay, Kaufman's grave site. Okay. Let's see. Copy. All right. Let's see what we can do here. I'm gonna test this out. Let's see.
Cool.
Let's see what the score is with this thing. All right. So Jack, you tried clicking on the YouTube link, the little thing over on the left side.
I don't know if this computer is slow or. But I didn't see a link or anything pop up to put it in. I think it just. Is it working for you at all?
I mean, I got the link.
Hold on, real quick. Can you guys see the video?
I've got it on myself, so.
So you cannot see this as I'm playing this right now?
No.
Let's see.
Because look
well, I haven't installed the app yet. That's probably why.
Oh, okay. Maybe that's what it is. If you install the app, you might. I don't know if the at-home viewers can see it or not, but it's gonna mute my microphone.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna hit. Oh, I didn't see that accept. Okay.
Okay, accept.
Yep. Because it's opening YouTube.
Yeah, it is for me too. Okay, I've accepted just in case. Okay, opening YouTube, downloading app. That's what I'm getting now.
Now I can see it.
You can see the video?
Yeah, I can too.
All right, so you guys were able to see that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. I wonder if that was I wonder if that's going to be like up there. I mean, that's pretty cool to know we can do that. I wonder if the at-home viewers were able to see that too. Be nice if they were.
Interesting.
Oh wait, let's see. Something I wanted to ask you guys concerning.
How do I get rid of this now out of the?
Oh, if you click.
Just
Oh,
press
oh
the
yeah.
tab.
Yeah, over on the left there. If you click again that little YouTube thing, it should disappear.
Ah, there we go. Damn.
But he's actually right, you know, that the grave is too small for someone as big as Andy.
That is interesting.
Yeah,
I agree.
it'd be neat if there's a statue of. Heck, maybe that's something we can do. We can make a statue of Foreign Man, and then we implant it there, right next to the grave someday. That would be cool.
No, I know what they should do though for Andy.
Huh?
They should try and get him into the Hollywood Walk of Fame.
That would be great. Yeah, that would be great.
I mean, I did it for Phil Hartman with a few others.
I think that's awesome you were able to do that. And the Walk of Fame, you say? Hollywood?
Yeah. Yep.
How
That's
did
the
you...
reason that's the reason I'm going to LA, because I'm going to his Walk of Fame ceremony.
What did you do? What steps did you take in order to get him out there?
Well, for the Canada one, they needed translations like into Spanish for the Latin market, so I did that. And then for the Hollywood one was a lot different in a way. Like only his family got involved because you need to get the donations and stuff. So, and obviously that went into plan. And then they just said, saying, yes, we know you. And the thing is, I met his brother randomly on Facebook too. So said, well, they're going to host when he got the star, said, well, they're going to hold the ceremony in September, like hopefully 2014. So I've been saving up for that. And he said, oh, look, we're going to do it definitely for September. Do you want to come? So for sure, I'll be there.
That's cool. So you were talking to Phil Hartman's brother?
Yeah.
That's fantastic. I love Phil Hartman, and the fact that you helped get him a star in the Walk of Fame, I think that's fantastic.
It's one of the most proudest things I'm proud of. Put it that way.
Awesome.
So I want to ask you guys. So what are your theories? You know, John Lundberg is putting together his own documentary called Kaufman Lives. What do you suppose? And apparently there's that one, and then there's also one that I think Al Parinello, who does the Andy Kaufman Awards with Michael, is putting together too. So what do you suppose John Lundberg is gonna explore in this Kaufman Lives documentary? What do you suppose he's gonna explore with that?
Hear me?
Oh yes, Jack.
Yeah, we can, Jack.
Oh,
Very nice.
Sherry Havens. Real quick, Sherry Havens says on here she saw it. So thank you, Sherry. And Sherry, I try to invite you to this chat. So if you're able to jump in here, I think, you know, feel better, you know, about jumping into the madness. I've sent you a link there, and I think having your participation here would be fun. Real quick, Lucy Armstrong, and I want to get back to what you were saying, Brandon. Lucy Armstrong says, regarding Brandon saying it was better as observers, got dirty interacting as someone has stayed an observer. It's really great to hear you folks riffing on this stuff, new perspectives, etc. That's cool. That's awesome. Thank you, Lucy. That's awesome. So, Lucy,
Thank you.
there are always those new people coming in, right? They're always going to keep coming across this stuff, and I guess these Google Hangouts are really awesome because we know that they're going to be saved. You know, it's going to be out there for anybody to come across and for people to sift through and listen to this stuff and match it up with all the other AndyKaufmanLives.com stuff or who knows what else is going on. They'll be able to look through it all and kind of, you know, figure stuff out here. Something else she says here is, interested to hear from you folks. Over the years, wild guesses, who have you suspected screen names were, like Bob so-and-so, was Andy number 23, etc. So, interested in hearing our wild guesses and who we've suspected the screen names were. Well, gosh, it's tricky. I don't really know. I mean, I just found out that Brandon was 3 different people at once. Well, actually 4 or 5, I guess, if you think about it. He's himself, the masked guy, and then the 3 other folks who were the conspiracy theorists online. So at this point, I don't know who is who anymore. I mean, I always thought that Bob Zamuda was in charge of the Tony Clifton Twitter, but I don't know. That could be just made up. There's a whole bunch of those actually, whole bunch of those Tony Clifton Twitters, and I've never heard Zamuda ever claim that he was ever behind any of them. I never heard him mention any of them or anything. So I'm kind of curious. And then there was a Twitter account that said I am Bob Zamuda, and so I don't know if that was.
Started following me too.
You remember that one, Dave?
Yeah, it started following me too a few months ago.
Wait, is that one still around?
No, it isn't.
So he was interacting with you a bit?
Well, he sent me a follow, and then I just messaged him, and after I messaged him, he just removed his account.
Yeah, I think that account disappeared, and I wonder, there was an Andy Kaufman, I think it was 49 maybe? I think that's the year he was born, 1949. So there's Andy Kaufman 49 on Twitter, and I don't know, I suspect whoever's behind that was the one who was behind the I am Bob Zamuda. And then there's remember Aaron Kanarick? Have you seen that one on Twitter too? Kanarick?
Yeah, that's the one. That's the one we were talking about the other day.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, he was.
And he was on Seinfeld and Home Alone.
Oh yes, he claims that he's the Elvis guy, right? The Home Alone Elvis guy.
I've got no idea. I've never seen the scene, so. And even if I watch it now, I won't remember.
Oh gosh. Hold on a second. Now that we know we can do these YouTube shenanigans, let's see. I'm going to see if I can find this. This is going to be my little test here. The Home Alone, let's see. I'm going to type in Home Alone Elvis. Let's see here.
Elvis is in Home Alone?
Well, they claim that that's Elvis as an extra in Home Alone. Let's see. And then also that Aaron Kanarick guy, he claims that he was that exact guy. So let's see here. Okay, here we go.
He shows up.
He doesn't really look like Andy though.
He shows up. Doesn't he show up in the airport scene?
Yeah.
Wait, here it is. Here we go. I'm gonna click. Yeah, that's the one. Okay, so here we go. Let's see. That's not the one. Elvis. Okay, so this is the one. I want this to go up here. Huh. No, I want to put this into the playlist. Alright. Alright, so ideally we can get this up and going here. How does that happen? How did we do that last time? That's interesting. Back. Alright, so let's see. Oh, here we go. Okay. Alright, so let's see. I think I can. Here we go. Okay, here we go. See if you guys can see this here. So that's quite interesting, right?
I haven't seen it in full yet. I'm gonna watch it now.
He looks more like the dude from Home Improvement.
Wilson or whatever his name is.
Al.
Yeah, the other guy.
Al Borland.
Yeah, what is it? I can't remember.
Man, I haven't seen the video yet, though.
Lucy, real quick, Lucy says here, I don't want to be on camera, so don't forget to look to the side every so often so I can participate. Well, thank you, Lucy, for being here and participating in this madness and listening to this stuff. Oh, Lucy also says, Lynn used to participate as Angel Coffee in the 90s, early 2000s. Angel Coffee. Lynn used to participate as Angel Coffee. I wonder if that's a... I'm going to look
like
for that.
A character she made up or something?
Oh, maybe. Lynn Coffee. Angel... Okay, Angel Coffee. Yeah, that could be a character that she made up, huh?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Maddox hasn't made an appearance yet, huh?
What, on
No.
On here?
On here?
Yeah. Not while it's gone or anything?
No.
Maybe he's just watching it.
Kaufman came back, missed him.
Who came
Actually,
by?
Kaufman came in, but you missed him.
Yeah, I'm not buying that.
Yeah, that's crazy. You were gone, and there he was. Mystery is over.
Mystery
He
Silver.
just came in, but
Yeah, that would be great.
You guys would be sending that off to the news right now. That was
Oh my gosh, how hilarious would that be? Yeah, he makes his big appearance on our Google Hangout right now, and it's just that split second.
Andy Kaufman reappeared at a Google Hangout.
Yes. Oh my gosh, how fun!
And just send it to Fallon.
How do we make that a
Or
thing?
recommend.
Let's do that now.
Just get Jimmy Fallon on
Get
him.
him in here.
I want to know more, Lucy. If you know more about this Angel Coffee thing, if there's any way that you can give us some sort of idea here, even if you're on the actual event page, maybe put that link up there. Maybe, I don't know. That's what I'm kind of imagining. If you could find that and put that link up there, then we can take a gander at it, and that way I would really like to know what that's all about.
Did you invite Zamuda today on Google Plus? I thought I saw his name down there.
I did. I saw Bob Zamuda up there. In fact, you know what? I'm going to invite him again right now.
That's wild. Now, he even has a Google Plus account.
Yeah. Let's see.
Right after May 16th, like he was champing at the bit to do it.
Oh man. Here we go.
Well, if we do get him on, guys, don't know what's the first part of the show.
Right. Go watch the first part.
I didn't talk bad about him.
No, you're only fooling. Sorry, Bob.
I just invited a bunch of Bob Zamudas. I think I invited 4.
Nice.
That'd be fun.
How many
Probably some
Zamudas
other
is
guy
there?
named Bob Zamuda, not even related. Somebody probably from the Ukraine or Poland named Bob Zamuda.
Yeah.
Who the hell is this?
Polish. Like that polished?
One of them, the good news is one of them has his face on it. Lucy Armstrong here says Angel Coffee was a screen name on old message boards, etc. So Lucy, what do you know about this? That's what I'd like to know. How long have you been in this madness? You say that you're just an observer, but I mean, what have you're talking about? That was a screen name that Lynn used as Angel Coffee. Well, number one, what I'd love to know is how do you know that was Lynn? And number two, how long have you been involved with this? Because if you're saying that this was on an old message board, that tells me you might have been around with this stuff as long as we have. So I'm curious about that. Very curious about that. So I want to ask you guys. So when this book comes out, Sherry Havens. By the way, I'm going to send you another one of these just for kicks, just to see if maybe we can bring in here. By the way, you guys, I want to tell you there's an Andrew Kaufman on Facebook. He's friends with Sherry Havens. He's also friends with me, and he says that his dad's birthday is on May 16th. So that's quite interesting, isn't it?
Mm.
Weird.
The plot
Yeah.
thickens.
Yes. Yes.
I
Oh,
think one
man.
of his nieces or something does one of those accounts. I don't even remember why I reached that conclusion, but I think I've seen her write to someone else. I wasn't friends with them, but I think she's friends with someone else or something. And I think the writing style seemed kind of the same.
Who are you referring to?
I think one of Andy's nieces is behind one of those Andy Kaufman
Oh,
accounts on there.
oh, right. Okay.
Jenny Kaufman Myers?
Jenny Kaufman Myers. Yes, I heard you, Dave. I think that that person. Also, there's a Cerry Kaufman, Cerry. There's also man.
Jenny
A
Kaufman
few
Myers
of
is
them.
not related though.
Really?
I mean, she posted later on that on the Friends of Andy Kaufman that she only calls him Uncle Andy because she actually could relate to him in every way.
Oh, gotcha. Well, there is a girl. Her name will come to me. Maybe I'll at some point I'll find her and then I'll pass her on to you guys. But she apparently is. I don't know if she is a daughter of maybe Carol and her husband, or maybe Michael's daughter, or someone like that within the family. So she's a legitimate like niece of Kaufman to some extent.
Kaufman, all right.
So so Jack, you and I forgot who the heck else might have been involved. Oh, it was Matthew. He goes by Matthew Dead. Is it Matthew Dillier or Dillner?
Oh,
That
I'm
guy.
looking at
We were on Facebook and we were contemplating that photo that had Lynn on it, and it showed that guy in the background who was looking at his cell phone, and he looked very interestingly like one of the photos that Stephen Maddox was using as his profile photo on Twitter. And
oh yeah, now I remember that.
remember
Is that
that?
the one that
Was
was?
Brett, wasn't it?
Is that the one with in the figure?
Well, wait. Say that again, Jack, and then I want to hear what you just said again, Dave.
That was
What,
with
Jack?
Brett, wasn't it? It wasn't with that Illner guy. I think it was with Brett.
Oh, maybe,
We were
maybe.
talking to, yeah.
Maybe, yeah. And the I think that's Lonnie. I think that's Lynn's husband back there. But the interesting thing was when he said something about a guy named Vincent Reynolds. It is very interesting that the two of those guys look alike, like each other. But
Yeah,
I
they
ended
do.
up finding another photo where both of them are in the same picture. So now we know that that's
They're
not
not one and the same, yeah.
right. And so when we looked at that, what was interesting, what I realized was that Steve Maddox was using Lonnie's picture on his Twitter account, which was quite interesting. Dave, what were you saying? You said something earlier.
No, I think it's the picture that you're referring to. Is that the one with the Andy Kaufman action figure?
Mm-hmm.
I thought so. Yeah, that
Yes.
caught my attention too.
And what was interesting was Jack and I and the other guy that were trying to, I think it's Chris. Is that what you're saying? Or
Brett.
what? Brett or something. It was funny because somehow Lynn ended up finding that photo and she popped up there, and I went quiet. I didn't know what to say or how to respond to that or anything. Our conversations just went. We didn't say anything at that point, and I was just like, okay, here I have Lynn right here. I could verify any of this stuff. Yet, let's say, okay, we look at the different perspectives here. Number one, let's say that Kaufman died, right? But let's say she still wants to, sort of, in a non-aggressive way, still promote, in a sense, the idea that he could have possibly faked his death. So, let's say if he died, okay, and Lynn knows this. Like, I just want to know, what does she know about Stephen Maddox? What are her thoughts about all these theories? What does she know about Nathan McCoy? All that kind of stuff. So one of the things that, because I said, Lynn, we have so many questions for you, and she said, well, what makes you think, what did she say? Oh, she said something like, why would you believe me anyway? And I thought, okay, you know what, you're right. why would I believe you anyway?
Why would we believe him in the book either then, if that's the case?
Right.
I mean, I remember when I first got Facebook and I found out she was on it. I messaged her about the whole theory and this was in 2008 as well. And I actually told her about it, and she's like, I don't really like to answer personal questions about Andy because it brings me down, and so I just left it at that. And then I told her, like, once the book is out, would you be willing to do an interview? And she said yes.
once the book is
Oh,
out.
that's interesting.
Yeah.
That's great. That's very cool, man. Because you know what? I've heard interviews with Lynn. There's one by Matt Ryan on his podcast, and he's asking her about the wrestling aspect. You know, about him getting in the WWE Hall of Fame and all that jazz. And like when I hear those interviews, I go, oh my gosh, I know what questions I'd be asking her right now, and I know what questions those would be. And
Nobody ever asks the hard-hitting questions, the ones you want to hear.
Because she won't answer them even if you do, though.
I know. They just skim the subject just very briefly, and they even act like it's crazy.
well, Dave, what ideally, you know, you can be the guy who asks those questions. You can ask her about, you know, who is Nathan McCoy? What do you know about Nathan McCoy?
Even if I asked her, I know she won't answer me.
Well, but let's say, just for kicks, if you gave her that opportunity,
No, I could try.
Yeah, because I would love to see what her answer would be. Even if she goes, well, I don't really want to discuss that. At least you gave her the opportunity, you know, to kind of give us some kind of information.
Do you think she'll be changing her position with that new book? How she's saying he's dead, but now
It depends what's
weird. Well, it's going to look weird to co-author a book with one guy that's saying he's alive and he helped him do it. You know what I mean? And her saying that
But
Yes.
what if Bob is the one that helps him out, but Lynn doesn't know about it?
Bob was what?
What if Bob actually did help him do it, but Lynn doesn't really know?
Could be anything. Could
She
be
knows
with
now.
these people. Who knows? But yeah, you'd think she'd know. I mean, with all that, like Brandon said, with all the everything that's going on, must have put it together.
I mean, it makes sense that she'll come out and she'll be a proponent of the whole fake death theory too in the next coming months for sure.
Yeah, I think so too.
It's
Especially
never,
after that book
it's never going to end.
Well, and that's what's so fun. You know, that was something I was going to ask you guys is, well, actually, first I want to say this about, so Lucy says, she's been a part of it since the beginning. She's been an observer since the beginning. Oh, Jake Lewis says, can I join? All right, Jake, we're gonna try to get you in here. But in the meantime, I wanted to ask you guys. Okay, so let's say, okay, Jake Lewis. For some reason, I don't see up here, man.
Jake Lewis. I'm trying to remember.
I do not know, but he's got a picture of like a koala bear on there.
Oh, okay.
Jake, if you could put your email address up in that Q&A chat bar, I'll search for you as an email address. Because Brandon, earlier on, I had to put your email address in order for you to become someone that I could actually, I don't know, utilize in this sort of situation. So. Jake, right now, Jake, I see 1, 2, 3, 4 Jake Lewises, and none of them have the same avatar you do. So I'm not gonna invite those guys. But just give me your email address, and I'll look for that. Okay, so something I wanted to say or ask you guys. So let's say, okay, let's say Kaufman comes out, and it's revealed, right? Okay, hey everybody, guess what? I faked my death. Well, then, two questions is. What are those ramifications? What kind of trouble would he get in? What kind of trouble would the people who assisted him in that get in? And then the next thing is, what next? So it's revealed, and then what next?
I actually have a theory.
Yes, Brandon.
So many theories today, guys.
I love them.
I'm a Canadian, right? So I don't know. I didn't at the time know how the system in the U.S. worked versus ours or whatever. But when I first got into this, me and a friend did some research, and he actually looked up a Social Security number application form and printed it off. And I don't know. I mean, you guys can clarify this for me or not. I don't know. But if he listed 3 names on his Social Security number, wouldn't it be entirely legal for him to just stop using Andy Kaufman as a name and going into using one of the aliases on the Social Security number? What's that?
I think you can do that.
And so what I'm thinking is if he did fake his death, On paper, anyway, Andy Kaufman could be dead, but whoever else is on the Social Security number as a second and third alias could be used.
I mean, I've got a theory as to what King stands for too.
What are your thoughts, Dave?
Like what Brendan just said, just really hits home, because really, when you think about it, maybe Andy Kaufman did die the name, but the new name is Nathan McCoy, or anything else.
That's a good theory. Something that Brandon said about these aliases. Okay, so I want to ask you guys about this with those aliases. How many aliases did he have under his Social Security number?
I don't know, but you're allowed to put 3 names.
I think Enrique Presley could be one of them.
You know, there's a video on TMZ that says with that number, it might add, add a little believability to what Brandon's saying, that somebody with his number bought some property in New York, but the streets don't match up with the numbers. Somebody did buy property and they gave his Social Security number, which is kind of interesting.
Wow, and they used his Social Security number?
Yeah, I'll have to find that video and I'll link it, or I'll send it to you guys. But it was on the TMZ thing, and it was real interesting. One of their, researchers found out about that.
And no one went out there to actually look at this place and actually knock on the door or anything?
No, because I think the property he bought didn't match up with it, or so. I'll have to find the story again. They were kind of vague with it, but it was interesting what they said. Let me see if I can find it.
Wow. While you're looking for that, I just want to say... Oh, yeah, go on, Dave.
Do you think maybe, like, the nickname King that was going around when Andy Kaufman lives, do you think maybe it's like an abbreviation for something?
Well, Brandon had a great idea earlier on that he was thinking about. Brandon, can you repeat that to him while I got to check my boiling water for my coffee? I'll be right back.
Yeah. I Am King is Andrew Jeffrey Kaufman, too. If you rearrange, it's an anagram. If you rearrange the letters, I Am King is AGKMNII, which is Andrew Jeffrey Kaufman, too. That's how I read it, anyway.
I mean, I thought maybe it stood for, like, Kaufman is not gone as well.
Yeah, that's another one that I have a piece of paper that I've held on to, like, for the last 7 years. It's got all the, like, anagram ideas of what, like, all of these words that he was using. Because King is in capitals, always in capitals. So it's an anagram for something, or it means something. It stands for something. But I mean, we don't know exactly what that means because we didn't. He's got his own reasons for using that. But I Am King definitely is an anagram for AGKMNII, and spells like Andrew Jeffrey Kaufman.
It's possible. I'll never rule that out.
Which is interesting.
Yep.
Jack.
Yeah.
You're American, so you can answer that. Is that not right? That you're allowed to put 3 names on the Social Security number?
I think you can have aliases, like you said.
Because you're allowed to have a legal name, a business name, and an alias, I think.
That's true. So maybe he gave Tony Clifton or something as a business name or an alias or something.
And that would be why his Social Security number is still active, is because even if Andy Kaufman's dead, the name Tony Clifton can still be used.
That's interesting. That could be. I'm going to send you guys this video right here, and he'll link it. It briefly mentions that thing about the numbers, about him buying some property in New York or something.
Huh.
Imagine if you were the reporter and actually knocked on that door, and then Kaufman would open that door.
It'd be pretty weird. Probably now, though,
I wouldn't even know.
It wouldn't be enough.
I mean, I wouldn't even know what to say. He'll probably act like Jack said on Uncle Andy's phone house. What are you doing here? Get out of here. If he comes out with a bowl of ice cream, then we know it's Andy.
Okay, I sent it to your email, Kurt.
He's not there yet. He's checking on his boiling water. He's going to come back and dress as Tony Clifton.
Yep.
He's gonna come back as Tony. Okay. I missed that. Someone took those up.
Like a needle in your eye. That is a wife. Nothing would be finer than to be in Carolina.
Yeah, I don't know if
watching-
you guys want to skip the video. It's like 5 minutes in or so. It's when the Australian reporter guy comes in, so they rehash a lot of old stuff, so you guys know.
Huh.
Just link it on YouTube, on Facebook.
I'll wait for Kurt to link it in the thing here.
All right. I'm not going to go in, but I'll let you guys watch it, because last time I went in, I kept getting disconnected. I didn't know how to get back from the video.
Oh.
And he's on to
You just hit-
us.
You just hit the thing. You just hit the YouTube button again.
Oh, and it just takes you off? Oh, okay. Maybe I'll watch it too then. I just saw Kurt, now he's gone again.
He's getting his hat.
And
Or his wig.
No, Wally Wingert was going to sell me his Tony Clifton jacket for $200 once. I was
Oh man,
tempted
we're
to get it,
disappointed.
but if you don't have the prosthetics and stuff, it's not really, you know,
You're not Tony Clifton. We expected you to come back as
Yeah.
Tony Clifton.
check your Facebook, Kurt, your messages.
All right. Real quick, something that Sherry Haven says here. I've tried to tie Andrew Kaufman. Now, Andrew Kaufman is the guy we were mentioning on Facebook, whose father, whose birthday was on May 16th. I have tried to tie Andrew Kaufman to Andy through Ancestry.com. Still trying to confirm lineage. Love the conversation. Can't join you guys live today. Thank you, Sherry. Thank you so much for your participation. All you guys, just because you're not in here talking with us, does not mean that your participation is going unnoticed and unappreciated. Jake, I just want you to put your email, please, in that little chat bar, and then I will happily invite you to the conversation. Lucy says here, Lucy Armstrong says, his social security number has been active all throughout, various addresses. All of his work was done through Andy Inc. He was never directly contracted or paid, always FSO Andy Inc. FSO Andy Inc. I do not know.
I remember reading that as well.
What is FSO? What is that?
I've seen that too, Andy Kaufman Inc., but I think that was an alias. You know, one of those supposedly websites where you got to pay money to get some information about somebody.
Wait. Don't you guys remember about that? They wrote this about this sighting about this guy who's in a wheelchair, and he was saying that then they were going to go into a partnership into a business called Andy Inc.
Who said that?
It was on the Andy Kaufman Lives. That's where it just came from.
Really?
Yes. And then
Andy
because apparently yes, like apparently he was playing this guy, like the Andy Kaufman sightings, and he was this guy in a wheelchair, and that he knew who Andy Kaufman was, and that they were going to go into partnership into this business called Andy Inc.
Wow, I don't remember that. I do not remember that.
I
need to definitely check that out.
I'm going to try and find it.
I'm not going to lie, when the Andy Kaufman Live stuff was up, the website, I skimmed through a lot of it, because a lot of it was really like, what's the word I'm looking for?
Yeah, there was tons.
Cryptic was the word. It was,
some things did catch my attention.
So I skimmed through a lot of that stuff. I don't remember a lot.
So I'm trying to look up Andy Inc. here. Wow, Lucy, this is very interesting that you know about this stuff. I wish you were in here talking with us, because it just sounds like you know some information that that some of us here do not know about, and it would be really neat to have you talk with us in real time here.
You know,
but the Andy Inc. thing just came to my head straight away.
What were you saying, Brandon?
I just told her to put a mask on and come on. If she doesn't want to be on camera, put a mask on. Come on, let's clear
Yeah,
this
yeah,
up.
Lucy, put a mask on and come on camera. We don't need to see your face. You could have a frozen picture in the corner, even if we just hear your voice, And then Dave, what were you saying?
That when you just mentioned Andy Inc., that's where it came to me, and I just remember seeing that on Andy Kaufman Lives.
About something about a wheelchair?
It was this guy that he was apparently. They were saying that. Remember those sighting pages that it had on?
Yeah.
Right. It was on there, and it actually said. It was this guy in a wheelchair, and he actually, when we pointed out to him that he looks like Andy Kaufman, he said that he was going to go into business before Andy had died, and the business was called Andy Inc.
Whoa. That's very interesting. Had Lucy never put this thing up here, we wouldn't be having this conversation right now. That's really, and I just found out that FSO she just put up for the service of. Wow, this is very interesting, Dave, and I think we're gonna feel reverberations of that. Somehow we're gonna find out more about that. I just have a feeling that that's gonna be something that we're gonna keep unraveling.
What does that mean? What does that mean then? Does that mean that like they used like for the service of Andy Inc. So that's how it.
It's just pretty spooky.
Yeah, the fact that the guy wanted to go into business with that before Kaufman died, that's what you saw on the site?
Yeah, it was basically this guy who was saying it. But he was actually saying it as if the guy they pointed out to looking like Andy Kaufman was actually saying this.
But does that mean that his social security number is still active? Is that why then? Because they can use it through a business?
If that's really the case.
Wow.
But the whole thing, you know what always caught my attention though?
What, Brandon? What were you saying?
Oh, I said to Jack before, like while you were gone, that if he really is dead, one of his aliases could have been Tony Clifton. And
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like.
Yeah.
He could still be using the security number.
Ah, very interesting. Very interesting.
What if they use numbers through comic relief or something? Who knows?
Yeah. Maybe Bob Zamuta's listed as an alias. Who knows?
Oh, very true. Wow. Very interesting.
Yeah, there's so many reasons, and Bob's been hiding all those years anyway. He's only kind of resurfacing now,
Wow.
with the internet and stuff. He's such a gabby guy, you'd think he would have been, on this all the time,
Yes. Now, Dave, you said something. What were you saying? I cut you off. You were saying something earlier that...
The Taos sighting is the one that's really caught my attention because they said it was New Mexico, and then they were saying he was living in Albuquerque as well.
Yeah, Taos was a while ago. Those sightings, I think, those were like from like 2005 or probably before.
It was like 1999 or something.
Yeah, that was quite a long time ago.
Because Taos is a long ways from here. Well, it's quite a ways from here, where I'm at, and where Maddox is from. It's probably at least 405. I think it's right by the Texas border, but I'm not sure. I was there.
Albuquerque? You're saying Albuquerque is?
No, Taos.
Yeah. From
Taos.
It's a place in the mountains.
That's right. The Taos cow, right?
And it's so small from what I remember of it. Taos, I just remember like a gas station with a teepee in front of it and stuff. So that place and what's his name? That guy's documentary.
Christopher Maloney.
Yeah, that weird place that Andy, or I shouldn't say weird because it's religious and some people would go. That different place where all those people would go to.
The Llama Foundation.
Like a commune or something. Yeah, the Llama Foundation. Yeah, But that's where
You
it
know,
was at. But it's just in the middle of nowhere. Nobody would be around. Would be around there, except maybe a few truckers going by the liquor stores and the gas stations. Heard it.
Jack, I got your link for the TMZ talking about Andy Kaufman alive. I'm gonna play this really quick just so we can
watch it.
see what that looks like.
Huh.
Well, there you have it. And
Mark the
Kurt?
guy's words.
you know that Charlie guy ended up somehow finding me and calling me up.
Is that the one? Is that the one that added me on Facebook too?
Did the Charlie guy added you on Facebook?
Yeah. What's his last name? Cotton or something? No.
I think so. Yes. I was gonna say I think it's with a C.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, he works at TI. Yeah, he added me on Facebook.
Aha, that's the guy.
Which one is he?
The Australian fella.
Ah. Oh, yeah. No, that's right. Yeah, he is. He lives in Australia. Yeah, that's what it says.
What did he say about the? Did he mention the Social Security there? Because I took a whiz at it.
They didn't, but there's something I wanted to say that that Sherry. Well, first of all, Sherry Haven says, couldn't you use a Social Security number as an EIN number for a business? Couldn't it be the same? I don't know. Now we're talking about territories of things that I just have no. I have no idea about. Something that Lucy put was, I can't find the TMZ clip. Are they discussing the address in Beaufort? Well, Lucy, ideally that's the TMZ. Ideally, the thing that we just played is the thing that you were looking for, but I don't know if that's the case or not. But also something else that Lucy says is FSO Andy Kaufman, as in Andy Inc. is signing and being paid for Andy Kaufman. Wait, Andy Inc. is signing. Andy Inc. is signing and being paid for Andy Kaufman. Being paid for Andy Kaufman. Being paid for Andy Kaufman. Andy Inc. is signing and being paid for Andy Kaufman. Okay, so apparently,
Kurt?
Yes.
Send me that TMZ video on my Facebook if you can.
Oh yes. Let's see.
I'm in there right now. You want me to send it?
Oh yeah, please.
Yeah, sure.
Send it to him. You guys are friends, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, good.
Yeah, his last name is Cotton.
Cotton.
But
Yes.
that mentioned Social Security thing briefly, right? That was the right video. I hope.
I think so. Yeah. They talked about the Social Security number being used, I think. Let's see here.
Should have got Charlie Cotton in here.
Oh, you know what? I'm gonna see if we could get him in here. Let's see. That's a great idea. Okay, let's see if we can find Charlie Cotton. Certainly, he's got a Google. Charlie Cotton.
Anyways, guys, hate to cut the show, but I really gotta run. It's getting late, so gotta prepare for work tomorrow.
Man. Thank you so much for hanging out and
No, thank you.
choosing to talk about this stuff with us.
See you later.
Take care.
Buddy.
Out
Thanks
there.
for
We'll do this often, guys.
All right, man.
Take care.
Thanks for your participation.
later.
You too.
See you later.
So I just sent off some invitations to a bunch of different Charlie Kaufmans. Looks like I gotta turn on the air conditioning in here.
Charlie Kaufman, isn't that a movie director?
Charlie Cotton is his last name.
Oh, okay. Charlie.
I'm pretty sure he just said Charlie Kaufman, but it's Cotton.
Who is Charlie Cotton?
He's the Australian guy from that TMZ clip. He added us.
Oh, okay. Yeah, he wanted me to call him up, but I think I was too late calling him back, so he interviewed Lynn instead. That article.
What was that at?
That was when she said, Lynn said that Andy was dead. It was during that stuff with the daughter and stuff, the fake daughter.
Oh, okay. Well, he was just looking for anybody, huh?
Yeah, I guess, because I didn't answer him. He probably
He's trying to find all of the that information. He just added me like 2 days ago.
He did?
Yeah. Which makes me wonder what's going on. Like, why did he just choose to add? Because he didn't add me when all of that stuff was going on.
He didn't ask you any questions or anything, huh?
Nope, he just added me. Which makes me wonder if, like, something else is about to happen. Or maybe he just added everybody in case he comes back, because he added me like around the 16th. What day are we on now? 17th.
He didn't add me. He might have followed me once, but I don't even know if he did that. But he sent me a message on Twitter.
Yeah.
That's about it.
You didn't add you on Facebook?
No.
Weird. I sent him a message. I was just like, I said, thanks for the follow. We're doing Google Hangouts. You should come talk about Andy with us.
Oh, that's cool. At least he seems to be into it, kind of.
Yeah. I'm not going to be around to watch if he does show up, though. I have to go to my
I
dinner
wonder,
soon.
did Kurt say he was recording this for YouTube?
I think so. I didn't hear that part unless he said it at the beginning. I don't.
Hey, Kurt, are you recording this?
What?
Are you recording this?
Oh yes, this should be
good.
saved on my YouTube channel.
Cool.
So I'll put this up there for you guys. Let's see. Oh, Lucy says she can't see the videos. Were they discussing the address in Beaufort? No,
If
they did not discuss.
If they let me link that in the chat, I'd do it. But it's not letting me.
That's odd. It's so odd. There, I see the chat over there.
Right now, the whole screen is black, and I just see the little icons you get down there. But
The whole screen is black?
yeah, except for the bottom where I see a little square version of you and Brandon. And
Wait,
me.
so you're telling me that the okay, so you cannot see. Okay, hold on. I'm getting rid of the YouTube thing here. Hold on. All right, is it better? Is it better now?
No, it's still black. Maybe I should try coming in again.
What the heck? It's so bizarre. I don't know why it's doing that.
So many glitches in this thing.
Yes.
It's so cool.
Oh yeah, man. I'm glad that something like this exists. I'm very happy about this. Oh, so something I want to get back to you guys about. Yes, and Brandon, you were about to talk about this, and then we got on to other things. What are your thoughts about Kaufman Lives, the upcoming documentary? What kind of stuff do you think he's going to be focusing on? Because as far as I know, John Lundberg has kind of come in late to the game, or who knows, maybe he's been a part of it throughout this whole time and finally decided, hey, maybe it's time to make a documentary about this.
It'll be interesting because unless he's going to be revealing something we don't already know, it's not going to really be that interesting. I just said it's going to be interesting, but I don't think it's going to be, like, informationally wise, I don't think it's going to reveal anything unless he's got some insider information. It might just be another, like, Chris Maloney thing where it's kind of it claims it's going to go somewhere, but really at the end of it, it doesn't go anywhere. You know?
Well, this is what I'm wondering is that I've never seen. Let's see. I guess the Christopher Maloney video, which I've never seen the whole thing. I've only seen little bits and pieces. But the cool thing is that deals with AndyKaufmanLives.com. Sort of the people involved. My theory is I've never seen a documentary about those people, I mean, aka us and others who have been kind of following along. I've never seen anything about those who some people strongly believe that he's still alive, that he faked his death. Others are kind of wishy-washy about it. But I've never seen a true documentary about that aspect before. And I almost have a feeling that maybe the documentary is about those who are fascinated about the idea of him being alive, and maybe the things that we're doing that that either help, I guess, perpetuate the myth, or what other information that we're digging up. I guess that's kind of like an idea that I have in my mind. So like right now, John Lundberg could be watching this, and who knows, he could end up using some of this footage in that actual documentary, which would be actually kind of interesting.
Well, has he gotten in contact with you? Has he interviewed you at all?
He's talked to me a couple of times on Twitter, and yesterday he was asking questions, or not yesterday, May 16th, the first time that I tried this thing, and I had such a tricky time trying to add people into the conversation. I wasn't using this little plus thing at the top of the page, which I see now, but I kept inviting people from the event page rather than directly from the very broadcast. So it was tricky. But the main thing is he has been asking me questions about how I got involved in it and all that stuff and what my thoughts are, and so yeah, in a sense, yes, he's sort of interviewed me, but not an official formal just me and him, kind of thing.
If it's going to be a documentary kind of focusing on the people who are watching all of this unfold and are wishy-washy, some people are thinking he's alive, something like what you said, then he should be interviewing all of us and getting our perspectives on what's going on. He should be interviewing you, Jack, Frank, maybe not me so much because I've been out of it for the last couple of years, but everybody that's been involved, and that should be the focus, like you said. Yeah.
Jack, what are your perspectives? We were just talking about what our theories were about this Kaufman Lives documentary coming up. What are your thoughts about what you think it might be focusing on?
That John fellow's making?
John Lundberg, yes.
Yeah, I'd like to see it. It's a ways away, but that's probably a good idea that he's waiting because there's probably a wealth.
Totally interesting, man.
Jack, it keeps cutting out. It keeps cutting out.
It's going to come out now between.
Oh, there we go. We hear you now. We hear you now, Jack. We hear you now. So sorry. Please repeat what you're saying.
Yeah, there was. I think he's wise to wait, a year or two to get it done because there's probably such a wealth of information between now and then that's going to come out from the books and stuff. He might write something now and contradict himself later what they're saying, or his guesswork in it. It might not look as professional if he waits it out.
Yeah.
2016 or wherever and sees where this goes. They might. Who knows? He might come back within a year, Andy, or they might reveal that it was all CMG or anything. And if he says it one way, it's just going to look kind of, silly now. So I think waiting is a good idea. What he's doing.
So let's say, for instance, Kaufman is revealed. It turns out that either way, Kaufman reveals himself and says, "Oh yeah, I did it. I faked my death," or someone comes out and says, "Oh yeah, CMG was behind this whole thing." Either way, the point is that someone would be giving the answer behind, I guess, all of this stuff. If you heard that, would you feel satisfied and just move on with the rest of your life? Would you feel crestfallen in a sense of going, "Oh gosh, I want this to keep continuing"? What are your thoughts, Jack? And then I'm going to ask, and then you too, Brandon. I want to ask you too.
Okay, I think it would be kind of lame if it was CMG in a way. I wouldn't be angry with him or the family or anything. I just, it's kind of a letdown a little bit. But it's kind of neat too. There's probably a book and a documentary in that too. Because I don't think there's been marketing or anything. They've done some weird things, but to this extent, to pretend that a dead man's still alive, that borders on something that there really should be a book or something about it. But hopefully it's the other, and he's still alive. But, something a little better.
Well, but let's say, so for instance, let's say he reveals himself, and then what? Will you feel like something died inside of you, going like, "Man, I wish this thing would have just kept going"?
No, I think it was cool. I'd just say, "Welcome back." It wouldn't disappoint me at all. I'd like it.
And what are your thoughts, Brandon?
Yeah, I mean, I lean more towards him being dead anyway. I mean, I have a glimmer of hope that maybe he's alive. So if he was to reveal himself, I would be like, "Whoa!" It wouldn't be like it has to keep going. You know what I mean? I wouldn't feel like part of me died if I found out that he was really dead, or you know what I mean. I would just go on with my life, and I would continue to check in on these things because I think all of us we all met through all of this, so we should all stay connected and all still have that way. I mean, so I'd still connect with everybody and keep in touch and remember that time when and all of that stuff, and I think that would be fun. So I mean, there'd be nothing lost for me at the end of the day.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
I like the fact that all of us have been brought together, and I mean, who knows what may happen? We might all decide someday to make our own projects together at some point, and which I think would be great.
Oh, absolutely.
I would get such a kick out of being able to be in the same room with all you guys and Kat and Spooky and Andrea from Croatia and gosh, all Frank, all those people that have Mary Dressler. Geez, there's so many people. Melody Clark. I mean, it's so many of these people that Tao just like getting them in the room. The new people, and then also those of us who've kind of like stuck it out for a while.
Add up.
Oh, absolutely.
It'll be a good time. So I mean, at the end of the day, nothing gets lost. You know what I mean? And it's all positive at the end of the day. Whatever the outcome is, if he's dead, alive, if somebody was behind it, a prank. At the end of the day, it experience, and that's the way to look at it, I think.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. I definitely get a big kick out of all this stuff that I've been learning throughout this time. But you guys, I hate to say it, there are a few things I got to get to, but I had a really enjoyable time hanging out with you guys and talking with you guys.
Same here.
It was so awesome, and it would be so fun to do
It was
this.
a lot of fun.
It'd be great to do more of these things and get, like I said, it'd be so fun to get all those Andy Kaufmans involved in the same chat, or like get all the Bob Zamudas and the Andy Kaufmans.
Well, it'd be fun to get everybody from the old days back, Spooky and everybody, Zach, all of those guys into this giant video conversation.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like, we should try and set something like that up.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. And so
That'd be cool.
we'll keep after these guys on Twitter and Facebook and whatnot, and make sure that see if they want to do this and everything, and just make absolute certain that we know that they're vouching for it and everything, so we can look forward to hanging out with them.
Yeah,
But
definitely.
Right on.
all right, you guys, well, take care, and it was a lot of fun talking with you guys, and we got 3 new viewers. Sorry, 3 new viewers, but we're heading out of here, and what I'll do in honor of what's going on here.
YouTube.
What I'm going to do is I'm going to put our last. Let's see. I'm gonna put up. There's a quick video before we end this here. I think this is a great video.
That's awesome.
I'm sorry, y'all. But
Kurt.
Yes. Oh wait, hold on. It's still playing. Hold on. How do I get rid of this thing?
People's heads, not only on stage but off. And it cost
Make it stop.
All right, here we go.
I just want to say thanks for inviting me to do all this.
Oh man, you're welcome.
And also,
Thanks
I wore
for
this in
joining
honor. And I wore that in honor.
Oh, that's. Where did you get that?
I can't tell you.
Oh my gosh, that's brilliant. Oh my gosh, I didn't even know those things were still out there. I've got to get one of those things. I've got to get one of those. That's amazing. That's incredible.
Yeah, man.
Wow, man. Wow, man. Well, Brandon, it's been awesome to hang out and talk with you guys and to clear up all this stuff and of course create more mystery and yeah, we'll definitely do this again sometime.
Please let me know. We'll do this for sure.
All right, cool.
Have a good one.
All right, you too. Take care.
Yeah.